Welcome to Into the Weeds with Weezer, a Little Bitches podcast. A podcast where we discuss all the songs off of a Weezer album, then guess each other's favorite and least favorite song off said album. Okay, so the first thing I should say is that yesterday was Rick Ocasek's birthday.
Nice.
He produced 3 of Weezer's albums, one of them being an album we're going to talk about today. But he died in 2019 at the age of 75. All right, so we're going to be discussing some Weezer albums and the songs within them. The first album we were going to discuss is the Blue Album, because it is the first one. It was released on May 10th, 1994. It produced the singles Undone the Sweater Song, Buddy Holly, and Say It Ain't So. Pitchfork named it one of the best 50 albums of the 1990s. Rolling Stone ranked it as the 297th album of all time, or in their greatest 500 albums, so that's pretty good. And yeah, so it's considered a great album by the critics, and everyone loves it. And I'm here with Sandy and Liam. My name is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
We're all Weezer fans. we all play in bands in Ottawa. Sandy in Teenage Fiction, Liam in Guest Room Status, and Kevin and myself in Stobie. I don't know if that really matters or not, but we're just going to say that out loud right now anyway. All right.
Buy our shirts.
Buy all our products. We got mugs. We got plenty of mugs. So the first song is My Name is Jonas, and whoever feels comfortable interrupting the other person first, please tell us how you feel about the song My Name is Jonas.
I'll go. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to dive in.
Okay.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is obvious. This is other than Buddy Holly and Why Bother in El Scorcho. This is one of the first Weezer songs I ever heard.
Yeah.
Right. I remember at the time. My favorite band in the world was Nirvana, and I remember being amazed. It had never occurred to me that you could even do this, that there was like acoustic guitar and harmonica with like these big crunchy guitars, like kind of just like pounding and stuff like that. I thought it was so cool. It was truly like almost like an eye-opening moment in music for me, which is sort of like interesting because it's not that revolutionary of an idea, and I don't even know if Weezer's the first people who did it. Probably not, but it really struck me.
Something that was kind of interesting about it was that their first song is a song in 6/8, or I don't know if you guys are count that way. 6/8.
I counted in 6.
Okay.
6/8. Yeah.
Which is like I thought they did it often, but they actually don't do that often. And it was like, does the tempo increase towards the end of that song at some parts, or is it always just the same tempo and it feels like it's increasing because the snare drum's going more and more, like happening more often? Do you know the answer to this?
I think it's like that. Right.
Yeah, I haven't noticed the tempo increase, but you definitely, like, once you get to the breakdown after that chorus where it's the snare on every hit, it feels a lot different.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's also a really interesting, because we're talking about the tempo and sort of the arrangement, the demo versions of it. So there's a couple of demos around of it. I think there's one from the Kitchen tape. That might actually be the only demo of it. I don't know.
I saw a live recording where they look like they're like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, long hair, and it's outside in the daytime. I've seen that one too.
Yeah, it's like early in their career.
Yeah. It actually had a much different rhythmic. It was still in 6/8, but it had a much different rhythmic feel.
It's like funk almost.
Yeah, because like on the Blue Album, Pat Wilson's going like boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, like that, right?
Yeah.
But on the demo, it's like boom, boom, ba, boom, 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 ba, boom, like it's like he doubles it, right?
I've heard this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it goes to show how much work they put in before this album. That's what it feels like, because what they landed on is so perfect and it seems intuitive. Like, I would think that that's how they would have had to play the song since the beginning.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't do that, and they must have realized, okay, there's something we can change here. We haven't exactly locked into the groove of this song yet, because that groove is so important. Because when the whole band comes in 10 seconds into the song, you gotta be in that swing. And if they had come in and it was a more funky the whole song would feel totally different.
The song was actually at one point was going to be like their first single in Canada.
Really?
I've heard something like that. Yeah, and like I don't know how that works when you release a song only in one country, but it didn't happen in the end. Yeah, I mean, it's a great song. I mean, I wish I had more to say about it. I mean, first of all, I mean, he says my name is Jonas, which I don't quite understand.
Right. There was a thing on the subreddit not too long ago about that. Like, what's the meaning of this? I don't get it either. In all my years of following this band, I've never come across like a solid explanation of that.
I think I know.
What is it?
I think I do. So I think that Jonas is the main character in the book The Giver, which it was like I think it's like a 6th grade curriculum kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I guess I could have read it in the 6th grade, but instead I was listening to Beverly Hills and hating it. But it's a book, and in that book, I also think there is a sled named Waypeel.
Oh, man.
And I
Okay.
think Rivers also had a sled that he called Waypeel, maybe because he liked the book, or maybe I'm confusing some facts. But Jonas is definitely the main character in The Giver. And so I haven't read the book, so I don't know exactly what allusions he's drawing. But to me, this song has brilliant lyrics, and I think they're kind of, they seem nonsensical at first. I mean, with the first line, no one knows what that means. It's not immediately recognizable. But as the song goes on, I've taken it to be about childhood and losing your innocence and trying to maintain the spirit that you had in childhood. You know, we're fresh out of batteries. We don't have the toys that we had anymore, but we're still making noise.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah, I think the lyrics to this song are so awesome. I wish I had the lyrics in front of me, but it's...
Sorry, good.
It's just, I think the lyrics are really, really strong right out of the gate. And I think that I think it's like a really declarative song, even though it's bathed in a little bit of like metaphor.
I know there's a part of it that's, he says, guess what I received in the mail today? Words of deep concern from my little brother. I believe his little brother was in an accident or something like that, a car accident, and he got a letter from him. So it's like a direct reference to something that happened. But the part about the workers, like the whole construction theme, I'm not sure what that's about at all. Do you have any idea what's going on with that? It's like the workers are going home. Like who's not building a path? Sorry, I can't remember the words.
It's like guess what I received in the mail today? Words of deep concern from my little brother. The building's not going as he planned.
Yeah, okay.
The foreman has injured his hand.
Yeah, all the construction like talking. Like what is that? What does that mean exactly? I don't.
I kind of read it as you know, we've gone from talking about toys to now talking about work you have to do in your adult life, and now that you're an adult, things aren't panning out the way you thought they would. Like your adult responsibilities, you can't even do them properly. The dozer won't clear a path. The driver swears he learned his math, so like the driver thought he was prepared for this, but he's not. And the workers are going home. Could be like a kind of like a Surf Wax America thing where it's like the workers don't want to do this anymore. They'd rather they don't want to be attached to their adult responsibilities. That they're going to go and do what they want.
And then it follows. That's actually it's funny because I've never really thought really deeply about Jonas, like in terms of what it's about. The themes are obvious to me, like on the surface level. That it seems. I think you're totally right. But I've never gone as deep as you've gone. And I'm loving your analysis of it, actually, Liam. And the workers are going home part. I think you might be kind of onto something there because it's actually followed by that big musical breakout, right?
Yeah, it's cathartic.
Right? Like the workers fucking bust out, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
The whole part about like based on a book called The Giver, I've never heard that in like all my years of like reading like Wikipedia and like message boards. So maybe you've broken a story here.
Maybe, yeah. I've definitely heard it on some podcasts.
Oh,
I did
okay.
podcasts, or I've read it on message boards. There's
Shit.
so much Weezer information out there, and so I don't know what's real and what's not. But yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Also, this is the only song, as far as I'm aware, that has an official credit for Jason Cropper.
Oh yeah, good point.
Right, who apparently came up with that intro.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. He was like the original.
He was before Brian Bell.
Yeah, I don't know what you call them, original rhythm guitarist, or they both play lead, so original other guitarist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he was. That's the only thing that he has credit for, other than like some like it was like a B side. I think he got credit for something that came out more recently. I've Thrown It All Away. Maybe he got credit for that.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, though, yeah, he's never made another appearance, as far as I know. Though I know that he and Rivers have made up. I've seen them play on stage together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool if I go to the next song. Is there more to say?
Sure. Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good with that.
All right, so the second song on the album is called "No One Else." I have like one thing to say about it, and in its defense.
In his defense.
Yeah. I think the song has gotten a lot of flack lately. I guess like sort of based on like I don't even know sure how I would put this, but this like I kind of like cringe when I use the word woke, but just like kind of like people are saying it's like a really sexist song, which it is in a way, but it's like this is not supposed to be a song that where you are like, fuck yeah, this guy is totally right about his attitude about wanting a girl who laughs for no one else and puts her makeup on the shelf when he's not around. But I think it's supposed to be kind of like maybe even like a childish kind of like monkey brain way of like jealousy and like being possessive of your partner kind of thing, which is like I don't know. I read a lot of people like really hating on this song and saying like that we should be like this song should be a disgrace, but I'm like it's not we shouldn't be like yeah fuck yeah our girlfriends should stop laughing at other people. It's just like he's kind of like exposing a very unappealing part about himself if it's even about his personal experience or maybe an experience of somebody else. I don't know. You guys thoughts on that, or just you can just talk about the song in general?
You want to jump in?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts on the lyrics specifically. I think I'm kind of I'm a lyric guy because it's I think the thing that sticks out to me most when I initially hear a song, because I'm not actually that intuitive of a musician. You know, I know when something sounds a way that I like, but lyrics are something that I can often pick out quickly because I know what words are, and then I think about them. So whereas Weezer uses like a lot of musical stuff that I don't know about, but I think the lyrics to No One Else are also brilliant, and I understand people being off-put by them. I think it's one of those things in art where you're walking a line between presenting something is not the same as condoning something. And you also, when you're presenting it to people, you share the risk of like you could put it out and attract the wrong kind of crowd who isn't seeing it for what you intended.
Yeah.
And people are gonna sort of co-opt this thing. And I'm sure there are people who listen to this song and like sympathized with the guy,
The narrator,
with the narrator. Probably like teen boys is probably most likely. But I would hope that they would get to the point where I think this song is very self-aware from the very beginning. I think the lyrics make it totally clear. He says, if you see her, tell her it's over now. He can't even present himself to the woman to say that it's over. He has to have someone else do it. And he says, she laughs at everything, whether it's funny or not. So there he's sort of exposing that he doesn't actually have much of a sense of humor. He's just a judgmental dude.
Yeah.
And then he says in the chorus, I want a girl who will laugh for no one else. And then he's revealing his actual insecurity of... he doesn't actually care if what she's laughing at is funny. He just cares if he's the one making her laugh.
Yeah.
And I think there's stuff like that all throughout the tune. And I think the song that follows it even makes that more clear.
Totally.
There's one funny thing too is like, and if you see her, tell her it's over. It sounds very high schoolish too. It's like if you run into her in the halls, tell her it's over, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It always made me think of the Beatles song "She Loves You," where it's like the Beatles "She Loves You" is like actually like a conversation that's getting reported, right? It's like You say you've lost your love. Well, I saw her yesterday. It's you she's thinking of. She told me what to say. It's like this reported conversation. It's not like it's something that the narrator is like kind of happening remote. It's not even close to what's going on in No One Else. But that part has always made me think of "She Loves You" by the Beatles. Liam, that was a killer analysis of that song, man.
Thank you.
That's so deep, dude. I've listened to that song for like 20 years, and I've never thought of it. I've never thought of it as something that we're meant to take at its face.
Sure.
Ever. I've always thought that it was sort of kind of like he's being quite ironic. I've always thought in that song, and sort of. I always thought of it almost like you guys have way better takes on it than I do, but I've always thought of it as like kind of almost just like a parody of that kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was thinking a little bit more that it's more like it's what like your monkey brain is saying, but you're like, no, I shouldn't be that way. But it's like the monkey brain speaking.
Yeah.
Like a jealousy is like he's like sort of exposing his jealous side. It's not a defense of his jealous side, but it's like just like he's like sort of he's admitting his flaws, but not presenting them as flaws. I guess.
Yeah. The other we've spent a fair bit of time on the lyrics of it, but there's also like I think musically it's everything on the Blue Album is really solid musically, but I think musically it's actually really interesting, especially the intro, the da 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 da. If you learn that on guitar, he does a really interesting kind of like he sort of like alternates between like fifths and sixths and stuff like that. Like he changes the intervals between the notes kind of as he's kind of playing them. Yeah, it's a really 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 interesting little intro. And I also really like, I think, because I'm sort of opposite to you, that I a lot of the time when I'm listening to music, I'm listening to the music more than the lyrics, right? And the lyrics almost always come second for me. But I think that sort of almost Beach Boys kind of 3-part harmony that's going on in the chorus, I've always loved that, right? And there's actually a really cool, like I've always thought that sort of coming out of the solo and into the and if you watch her, watch her. That's such a satisfying like sort of build of tension and then like a release. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Also, I just love using words like watcha, and if you watch her, you watcha. Anyway, I love that kind of sound, but. Anyway, did I interrupt you?
No, not at all. I don't have a ton to contribute about that one. I think you guys have far more sophisticated takes on it than I do.
But so this for My Name Is Jonas and No One Else, they're both using for the chorus the same pattern of
the 1-5-6-4.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah. Which is nothing to complain about, but it's just it's happening for the first 2 songs and then never again for this album.
Which is interesting because it's a chord progression that Rivers goes, or he doesn't do it so much these days. Yeah. These days he's into a couple of other ones that he seems to use all the time. But the 1-5-6-4 was like everywhere in like sort of like 2000. We'll get to that later. But like in like late 2000s. Weezer, that chord progression is all over the place.
I always consider it like when I make music, I consider it cheating when I use that progression, so I try to avoid it.
I'll do the odd one. I'll do the odd 1-5-6-4.
I know what the chords are in those choruses, so I kind of understand, but I don't actually know what the numbers mean. Like 1-5-6-4, but I know that it's like C, G, A minor, F.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, yeah.
It refers to basically the relationships that the chords have within the key, right?
Yeah, we can move them up and down the fretboard, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like you can make a really satisfying chord progression. It's our ears just love it. They love it so much, in fact, that it gets overused everywhere, right? Out of the sort of functional relationship between the 1 chord going to the 5 chord, which is it's like a tonic to dominant sort of thing. So you're going from a place of rest, which is your one chord. This is Weezer music theory, by the way, guys. So you're going
it's music theory in general.
So you're going from a place of relative rest, which is your home chord, right? Your one, right? Which in this case, if we're talking about C major, would be C, right? To a place of a lot of tension, right? Which is G, which is called a dominant chord, the 5 chord. When you're at the 5 chord, if you're following traditional harmony, your ear really, really, really wants you to go back to the 1 chord, right? But you can do what's called a deceptive cadence, right? And instead of going from the 1 chord to the 1 chord from the 5, you can go to the 6, which is this case an A minor. And then you can do another really, really, really satisfying root movement from A minor, which is the 6, to the 4, which is F. And all those chords have exactly the type of relationship between them, like from chord to chord, that our ears really, really, really like, right? And it kind of just cycles and cycles and cycles and cycles. You can. It's
right.
That's cool.
Hey man,
Well, that's good.
I told you when we were planning this out that what I can probably bring to this is music theory.
Okay, that's
Right?
cool. That's good.
Well, I think that goes to show that I think when you have a good enough melody and good enough elements stacked on top of each other, that you can use those chords. Because I've learned this album front to back. I didn't notice that My Name Is Jonas and No One Else had the same progression in the choruses. I guess they're in different keys.
They're in different
keys,
but and yeah, even though I talk a lot about the lyrics and how brilliant they are, Weezer, part of why I love them so much is even when the lyrics aren't reliable and they get to a place where they're not reliable. Like, I love both these songs, but eventually we're going to get to a place, probably not on this album, but where the lyrics aren't good to me.
Yeah.
But the music is almost always still something you can come back to, which is why this album is so good, because I think it has the combo, and I think when it comes to that common chord progression, I think using something like that and then stacking stuff on top of it can make something that's super accessible, because in the background you're hearing that common chord progression, but it doesn't sound trite, you know. And I've definitely used that chord progression before. Sandy and I actually recently did a song. Yeah. I do that exact same chord progression. And I remember deciding to do that because I could play other chords at that point, but I decided to do that as a sort of challenge to myself of, I'm going to do these typical chords, but I'm going to try to make the melody and the lyrics on top of it interesting enough that it still carries you through.
I definitely don't mean to denigrate this chord progression. It's just like I'm always trying to resist temptation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's been so many great songs written with that chord progression, including these two right here. Yeah,
you can also do cool stuff, and I'm not gonna go on a big theory deep dive here, but you can also do cool stuff by just altering one of the 4 chords, right? Yeah, like just like don't do all 4 of the progression, like do 3 of them and then trick somebody into
the expectation is
yeah.
There's one thing that was I don't know if I should say much more about the song, but this is the very end, the final chorus that they sing. Rivers jumps into a higher register of and Jesus, I wish I remember the words now. I want a girl who loves life for no one else. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about here.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, okay. He does it a few times on the album, where the last chorus has a melodic variation where he's singing the same chorus, but he's alternating it. He's typically jumping up, he does it on In the Garage. He does it on Holiday.
And
I think it's so satisfying.
It's a good device.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's also the intro part too of No One Else. That it's it's rhythmically different too. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, it's not a different time signature, but they put a different accent on it for sure. Yeah.
Anybody want to say anything else with the song?
I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, I think we've covered it.
So The World Has Turned and Left Me Here, which was written by Kumo and Patrick Wilson.
This is one of my earliest absolute favorite Weezer songs. When I first got the Blue Album, this was the one that I really identified with.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a big one for me in my teenage years.
Like musically or lyrically, or just both? Or?
Both.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really, really brilliant song. I think that the I think the lyrics in particular in this one are really, really clever. The idea of like the double meaning of like the world, as in like the world people, right? Like the world has turned, right? They've turned away, they've turned their back to me, right? But then also that he's couching it in this really cool little image of like the world, the globe actually turns, right? It rotates,
I never
right?
thought about that.
So there's a really good double meaning in there of like I've been left behind. He's saying I've been left behind in two different ways, right? You can read it as two different things. I've always loved it. I think it's so clever and so cool.
I never thought about that though. Well,
I think the lyrics to this song again are so strong, especially coming after No One Else. I know Rivers has said before that he considered these songs partner songs.
Part one and
this
two.
is sort of the sequel. And I think this song, coupled with No One Else, shows off the lyricism that people would criticize him for on Pinkerton, where it's very confessional. It's almost embarrassing.
you talking about the line where I just made love to your photograph?
For sure, yeah.
Your sweet memory.
Jeez. Oh, your sweet memory, Jesus.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
Yeah, 1,000 times in my head. You said you liked it more than ever.
Yeah.
That's creepy stuff. And then he says that he talked for hours to your wallet photograph.
Yeah.
You laughed enchanted by my intellect, or maybe you didn't. So that has the self-awareness that I think he's hinting at in No One Else.
Yeah.
And it's also the sort of lyrics that it really bums me out that people criticized him for doing on Pinkerton, because he's doing it here. And I think people just maybe didn't take as much of a problem with it because it is bathed in such sugary sweet production. And pop melodies.
And also surrounded by all these other really poppy, cute sort of singles, right?
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's something kind of cool about this song too. I mean, are we all in agreement that the world has turned and left me here? That part is the chorus? Or
really good question.
Because I think it is, because the song starts off with the chorus.
And it is the title of the song as well, and it's in that part.
And it ends with the chorus, kind of, so...
I would call it the chorus.
Yeah, okay, I think...
Because it keeps coming back and coming back and coming back, and the other parts have... Those other two sections have lyrics that are different.
Yeah, exactly, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true, yeah, but I'm honestly not confident, and I don't know why that's the case for this song. It's like... the chorus doesn't really stick out. This song, to me, like kind of just flows along into different parts, and then you get into an outro section. It doesn't have as much of a recognizable chorus to me.
Yeah, the dynamics are pretty flat all the way through. Even with like No One Else, although it's all distorted all the way through, like you can kind of tell when the chorus punches in. It's like a little more.
Yeah.
This one doesn't work that way.
There's also a demo version of this from I believe November of 1992.
Oh wow, you remember the month too? Oh jeez, that's my memory.
Bro,
I've been training my whole life for this moment.
In fact, it's from a demo tape that has the first version of No One Else, first version of Say It Ain't So, first version of World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Not the first version of... No, it's not the first version of Say It Ain't So either, because they did a kitchen tape version of that. Anyway, first version of a lot of different songs. Mm-hmm. And what's kind of interesting about it, and especially all those early Weezer demos, like from '92 that they were doing, when they were just starting out, is that Rivers was still doing like these really quite shreddy solos, right? And they're pretty cool. Like he's a really, 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 really gifted guitarist, right? And so this one, there's a demo version of it that you can find like on YouTube or wherever, where you're expecting it to go into this solo. That's the interesting thing about this one too, that if we're talking musically, is that the guitar solo, right, actually has different chords than all the rest of the song. There's different chords for the guitar solo that don't, that are not there in any. It's just this chord progression that the guitar solo happens over. And
I want to hear this.
On the first demo of it, that's not the case. The solo happens over the World Has Turned and Left Me Here chords, right? And it's like this really shreddy, like sort of like semi Hendrix kind of like bluesy shreddy solo. But that was one of the things, if I'm recalling my Weezer lore correctly, that Rick Ocasek suggested to kind of elevate the song, because maybe it was pretty repetitive, was to make it so that the solo actually happens over different chords.
And it just didn't work?
It totally works. It's on the album.
It's over different chords?
Yeah, if you listen to the Blue album, the guitar solo happens over a chord progression that doesn't come anywhere else in the song.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that it happened under the verse chords.
Nope.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to listen to that song again.
Totally.
I didn't know.
It's sneaky. They're
Whoa,
sneaky.
okay. I thought you were telling me the opposite, that they used to have it.
No.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that was a. Yeah, it happens. Listen to it again. Next time you listen to it, pay attention, because they don't change keys or anything.
Yeah.
They just start doing a different chord progression.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever noticed that. When I learned the album, I just learned the rhythm guitar so I could cover it. And I don't even remember if I learned the different chords there or if I did the other chords, but the melody of the chorus, the melody of the solo, which is what I pay attention to when I hear the song, it fits so perfectly. Mm-hmm. So even when they do that change, it's not noticeable, but I bet you if I heard the solo and they didn't change the chords, maybe the solo would be less impactful.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, I think it was an Ocasek production. If I'm recalling correctly, I think it was an Ocasek production note that we got to do something in the middle here because this thing's really repetitive, and it's like a 4.5 minute song.
Yeah.
So we gotta do something in the middle here.
It was a good idea.
The only other thing I want to say about it is that this is another one that really fired up my musical imagination as a teenager, because it has that really mournful acoustic guitar part happening in the intro.
Yeah.
And then it comes back again in the outro. And this is something that I think Weezer is really good at, is taking a major key song and making it sound really sad. So this song's they're tuned down a half step on the Blue album, so it's in G flat major, but you'd voice it in G major, mm-hmm. right? And it's a major key song, but it sounds so sad. And that acoustic guitar part is really, really beautiful and really, really always grabbed me when I was young.
Yeah, I wonder if is there any off keys on it to make it sound so sad, or just
no.
It's just like a major. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one of Rivers' real skills.
So sorry, off notes, not off keys, but
yeah. No, there's not that many.
There's a part. Well, at the very end. Well, first of all, they I like the use of all three voices in it.
Totally.
I think it's a 3-part harmony, if I'm not mistaken, at some points. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, they have the world has turned, and do you believe when I say now? Mm-hmm. And then it just the tension just gets so high that it just breaks down into do you believe when I say now? It's by himself. Do you believe? Or is it by himself? But anyway, just the background vocals disappear just because it's...
Yeah, he takes it over. And then the guitar part then does the melody afterwards. So it just builds and builds, and then it climaxes in the guitar doing the melody. And that's my favorite part of the song is that last minute as it keeps building.
Yeah.
And in regards to the... that main riff that I think is so good. I wonder, because Pat Wilson has a co-write credit on this, and the other song he has the credit on is he's got Jonas, but he also has Surf Wax America.
Yep.
And I think those two guitar intros are kind of similar, and so I wonder if that was him, and also in I guess what we're calling the verse, I just made love to that part. Those chords, if I'm remembering correctly, it's sort of like a you let some strings ring out that normally you wouldn't. It's not just a power chord. That's some sort of sus chord that makes it sound sad.
Totally.
And so this song sounds different than I think it's probably the most different sounding song on the album.
Yeah.
Only in Dreams maybe could compare just because of its structure, but this song is really unique, so I can see it grabbing a young teen Sandy.
If you listen to Pat Wilson's band, which are called the Special Goodness, I'm sorry, Pat, I don't love your singing voice, but
automatic when you know it.
but he writes incredible guitar parts. and a lot of them do have that feel. And I think you're probably onto something, that he had something to do with that intro sort of acoustic riff in World Is Turned. Because a lot of the guitar parts in the Special Goodness have that sort of like dissonant, sort of like sus, kind of like ringing kind of thing going on. It would absolutely make sense to me if that was his.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Pat Wilson wrote like the music for Surfwax America, and then Rivers did the melody and lyrics.
Oh wow.
So
yeah.
it's conceivable that he actually just did the music for all this, and then Rivers did.
Could be.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, because it has even the rhythm is a bit different than like, it has that kind of like, it's almost like a shuffle, like it's like got that kind of shuffly boom chicka boom boom, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's not like a straight blocky 4/4. I mean, it's in 4/4 time, of course, but it's not a straight rhythm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really unique and really cool song. Really cool.
All right, cool. So I guess for song number 4 is Buddy Holly.
The obscure deep cut that very few people know about.
Yeah. Forget who's Jonas. Who the hell is this Buddy Holly?
Yeah.
He died in a plane crash, man.
Oh, that must be why I don't know.
Too soon.
Mary Tyler Moore was an actress, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was she in I Love Lucy? No.
She was on the Dick Van Dyke
Oh,
Show,
yeah,
and then
okay.
she got her own show, the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on this song? Anyone want to start?
You know, it's tough, this song, because even though I don't remember hearing it before I became a Weezer fan in 2012, now I've heard it so much, and it's kind of it's tough for me. The few songs on the album that are like that, Say It Ain't So is the other one, and Undone to a bit of a lesser extent. But this one, you know, I still hear on the radio when I'm in like grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah, I can't escape it.
That being said, I don't get tired of this song. I think this is a brilliant pop song. I think it has so many cool elements that totally make sense as to why this was the one that like captured a lot of kids, and they had the music video on like Windows 95. And I can totally understand that kids would flock to this song because it has cool edgy rock elements, particularly in the bridge, but it also has immediately catchy vocal melodies, fun synthesizers. The lyrics, it's so good, and the lyrics are cute and obscure, even if you don't know what he's talking about. Like, it's fun to say. I look just like Buddy Holly and you're Mary Tyler Moore. Like, it's just a cool, he just really locked into something really cute, and then the more I think about it, the more I like it, that it just seems to be the lyrics are this love song about being sticking by a partner's side even when friends are making fun of them. And so I think this song fires on all cylinders. I love this song.
I agree, and it's also interesting because the verse melody in particular is weird. It's catchy, but it's also weird. Like the high note, like the what's with his home, like that it's the note that he goes up there. It's a little bit dissonant with the chords.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Just a bit. It's like it creates, and it's actually a pretty high leap too. It's like he goes, it's da, 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 da. It's like a fifth. He jumps up a fifth in the verse melody, and he goes to this sort of weird note that you don't really expect, but it doesn't sound wrong. Like, it sounds really good, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about the song the most is that the verse musically, I've always found it kind of dark and heavy, like just musically, right? Like it's sort of like, you know, it's minor, it's dun 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 dun, right? It's got a bit of a darkness to it.
If you were to play that rhythm guitar by itself, you could write a totally different song around it. That is much darker. That's like it's like power chord. It could be like a grunge song for sure.
Totally.
And the fact they were able to not do that in 1994 is pretty incredible.
Yeah. The pre-chorus, I think, is really beautiful. It kind of sounds like I'm not sure if it's 50s or 60s, that kind of like doo-wop-y kind of thing, like woo-hoo.
Yeah,
and
like
that's
late
for
50s
the time.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all those harmonies going on too. It's got like a barbershop quartet
That's
kind
what
of thing.
that's what I'm kind of thinking of. Yeah.
And not to go too theory again, but he does a really good. He changes that he's on that build.
Yeah.
And that's on a 4 chord. And he switches it to a minor. That chord's not supposed to be a minor right there in the key of the song, but he minors it, and it's like. Yeah.
Is it because that's what they used to like do like in the old
it's
days?
like a classic pop songwriting convention.
Is that's not similar to oh god, that Beatles song "In My Life"?
The Beatles do it all the time, and
there
is that is a part of that. For sure.
Okay, crazy. Okay,
yeah.
Another thing too that I like about the song, which I found like very distinct about old Weezer, is like they use a lot of like sort of funny slang, like what's with these homies dissing my girl?
Why do they got a front?
Yeah, it's I guess it's kind of like almost like hip hop sounding, but like
it is for sure.
They're total like nerds.
Yeah.
And then bang bang, what you on the floor? Another big dang, get down on. Oh no, what you gonna do? Whatcha? That word whatcha comes in again.
What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter?
Yeah, what's the matter? Yes, I really appreciate that stuff.
my favorite moment in the song, and it always has been my favorite moment in the song, is when the solo starts, when the melody right. Right? I always it's like gives me like goosebumps when he goes up there and yeah, it's a brilliant song, and I agree with you actually, Liam, that I, and maybe we'll talk about this a little more when we're talking about our like rankings, but I re-listened to all these albums so I could rank them, right? And there were songs even on the Blue album that I was like, I don't need to listen to this one again. Like I've heard it like 5,000 times and like I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm good. And Buddy Holly wasn't one of them. Like even though I have heard it 5,000 times when it started, I was like, no, I'm gonna listen to the whole song, man.
Yeah, and there's still things about it that if I noticed about them before, I didn't immediately appreciate them, and so I did the same thing. I re-listened to the songs, and there are just certain moments in here, like when the hand claps come in at the very end, as he's repeating, I don't care about that, it goes, and like that's just little touches that I'm amazed a band made on their first album. Like they came out of the gate and they had a fully formed identity, and clearly they had to work to get there, because you can see them working at it in the demos. But I think there's a reason that it had the accolades that you read at the beginning, Kevin, because these guys just came out and they seemed like they immediately knew what they were doing.
Yeah, totally. And just this is like a small side note. I think it's the only song on the album that starts off with a singing.
Just all together right away.
Yeah, it all comes in together. It's like, dude, like I was looking over the other songs right now really quickly just to make sure I didn't miss one, but okay.
You're right. You're totally right. Also, this I have this. I'm too young to have heard this on like the Windows 95 CD, right? Like I've heard that story, right? But when I heard this the first time I heard Buddy, I remember exactly the moment I heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
I would have been also about 15. It probably would have been right before I actually bought the Blue album. And I saw it on Much Music. Like I was just watching Much Music and I saw it come on, like the Happy Days video and stuff. And I remember really, really, really liking the song because I thought it sounded like essentially cheerful Nirvana. Like I remember thinking that. I was like, okay, it's like happy Nirvana, you know what I mean? It's got the heavy guitar sound and like the power chords and the harmonies and stuff like that, but it's like just happy, you know what I mean? But I actually remember being pretty offended by the music video because I thought it was a conceptual ripoff of the Nirvana video In Bloom.
Yes.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And I remember going straight to the message boards. Because at the time I was...
this is 95, you're saying?
No. This was like 99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was too young to have...
Okay.
In 95, I was like 9 years old, but a little later.
Yeah, okay.
Right. I remember like I went straight to the Nirvana message board and was like create new topic. Just saw the Buddy Holly music video. Like what a ripoff! Like I can't believe it. Like this is like the most unoriginal piece of shit. But the song's kind of cool. But the video is total trash. And I got dogpiled so hard from people being like, "You got to wake up and smell the coffee, man. This is like one of the greatest songs and greatest videos ever. Like get your shit together, kid."
Dang, immediately humbled.
Yeah. So that's my Buddy Holly story.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go on to Undone the Sweater song number 5.
Sure.
Anybody want to start with this? Anybody got their thoughts together? Or I can just start. I mean, it has like a rambling intro. With I think Matt Sharp and
Carl.
Oh, was it Carl?
Yeah.
Who was the girl? It was Michael.
It was. I think it was Michael, but it might have been Carly. I don't know. One of the two.
And they play the same riff over and over again for quite a long time, because I think the song goes all the way for 5 minutes and 5 seconds, but so it's kind of a long one. And I kind of noticed a pattern that when you look at like a full album, they tend to like put climatic songs halfway through the album, because based on like making LPs. Mm-hmm. So you kind of end the album a certain way. Like I think is it Across the Sea is 5 on
Pinkerton.
Pinkerton. So like Undone was meant to end side A, and I don't know. I mean, it's a great song. It's got like a really catchy chorus. Everyone knows it. I think it's the only song on this album that modulates for the solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the lyrics, especially in the verses, I don't quite get what they are about, if they are about anything. And they use some off notes that they eventually start humming over at the end. It goes, ooh, 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 ooh. Anyway, that's kind of like my first take of it.
Yeah. Really a pretty dissonant song in terms of that main riff that goes through it. It's quite dissonant, and almost like it's not, but it's almost grating. Like it's almost annoying, right? And they do that a few times on the album, actually, where they have these like really dissonant kind of like, like I'm not sure, like it's not even a bad sound, it's just tension. Like it creates a lot of tension, right? Yeah, I think this one's really interesting because Rivers is on record as saying that he was trying to write a really, really sad song, and this is actually supposed to be like a really sad tune, and it is, but that he was pretty disappointed. I've heard him say this in a few interviews, that he was kind of disappointed that
no one was crying during it.
That people didn't understand, or that. But it's like you were saying, about, I think you were saying about No One Else, Liam, right? That like once you put something out, like people are gonna respond to it however they respond to it, right? So that's one thing I always think about when I think about this song, is that he apparently wrote it with the intent, like his intent as a songwriter was communicating sadness, and that's not what people picked up on, right? Because it doesn't sound sad.
Yeah, and I think in the last 10 years, as I've listened to this song, I've fallen into the trap of thinking this is a goofy, silly song, and I've liked it less when I've been in that headspace. And I think it comes from the chorus, really. The chorus is so singable, anthemic. He's really going up there, and he's singing about a sweater. And the song is called, Undone is a much sadder title, but most people call it the Sweater Song.
Yeah, true.
And so that chorus is really what people are waiting for, and I think is what got it that reputation. But in the last couple years, and I've read that quote too, and I've started to think about the song as a sad song. I've paid attention to the verses a bit more, which I think people can glaze over, even though they're kind of long. They are repetitive and meandering, so you can kind of just not think about them much and wait for the chorus to hit. But if you really close your eyes and like get into that world, I think the song is really haunting. I think the sparse lyricism speaks to that. Like, you're right, Kevin, it's so vague. It's hard to tell what he's talking about. I'm me be, goddamn I am, I think I can, sing and hear me, know me. I think that is, to me, it reads like someone who is yearning to try to make a statement and make himself known, but he doesn't know exactly how to do that. In this moment, he can't even write hardly legible lyrics about it. He's just spitting out little tiny things.
Also, oh no, it goes, it gone, bye bye, and then Matt Sharp goes bye.
Yes.
It was a very similar feeling that you're just mentioning right there.
Yeah, and I think in that verse, that's him. After the chorus, he's gone up. He's tried really hard to say his piece, and then that verse to me seems kind of defeating. Like he tried, and he's like, I'm nothing. I tried it, and it's gone, and I didn't pull it off. And then the rest of the song is him trying to deal with that. And I think the last minute or two of this song is some of my favorite stuff on the record, where it's a lot of noodling. The way they come out of that solo, which does modulate and they do that a lot on Pinkerton, so it's cool to see it here. And they do that build coming out of the solo. Pat is totally locked in. Do 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 do. And they hit that chorus, and then you just get a long outro, and Rivers is almost like screaming this lyric, "I've come undone." You hear his voice crack, and then all the melodies are on top. And to me, at this point in my life, it sounds very haunting and disappointing. And then when you get on the full version, I don't know if they play this when they play it in grocery stores, but in the full version, there's like that underwater guitar thing, and then you can hear them hitting the strings of a piano.
Totally.
And that's scary, sad stuff. And so I think he accomplished what he set out to do. It's just along the way he also made a really singable song, which I think is the beauty of a lot of this album. It walks both lines, and it can be either thing depending on what you're looking for.
Crazy.
Yeah, totally.
I never thought of it like that at all.
Yeah, I think that's a really good take. I've always thought the verses were really depressing. They've always hit me that way, because it's all about either feeling like nobody sees you, nobody hears you, you can't connect with anybody, and then like disappointment, right? Like it's gone, bye, like all that stuff. Like it's, to me, it's always sounded, the verses in particular have always sounded really, really sad. And it's also maybe one of my favorite music videos.
Ever?
Not of Weezer, for sure.
Weezer, yeah.
I love it because it's so simple.
We're better than that rip-off, Buddy Holly.
Yeah, that man. Like I was like fired up about that. Like I
love
it. But yeah, it's such a simple concept of just like them playing like with that blue background, and like it's really they're all doing. Like they all seem to be expressing quite different sort of personalities, right, as they're kind of playing. And I just think it's a really cool, really clean, interesting music video that actually doesn't do very much. Like there's nothing in it. It's just them playing and the camera's going around, and and it's also a video that they shot. They shot, like when they filmed it, the playback was rolling at double speed, and then the video itself is in slow motion, right? Which I love. I love that effect. I think it's a really good effect.
I did a French cover of it, and we shot it the exact same way.
Oh yeah, cool.
I was trying to figure out how they shot it, so I put the actual. I downloaded the video off YouTube and put it on Premiere Pro, and I kind of kept speeding it up to sort of see what was the more natural speed they were doing it at.
Okay.
And I found like a good percentage, and then I reversed that speed. So when we filmed it, it was playing super fast. And then you take the footage afterwards and you slow it down so it matches the normal speed it should be at. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
And it has like a dreamlike kind of feel to it.
Totally.
Things can kind of get a little bit glowy, maybe based on the cameras I use, I guess. But it's a neat effect.
It's a good effect.
And the dogs come out at the end too.
Yeah. It's and the other interesting thing about it is like at the start of it, before it turns into color, there's like the people who are actually upside down.
Yeah,
right?
How did they do that?
I still wonder about that. I don't know enough. I don't know, but like the camera was upside down, maybe. No, because they're upside down.
Yeah.
Because they look like they're right side up when it starts, and then the camera starts rotating, and you realize that they're actually upside down. I think that's how it goes.
Maybe it was like a green screen effect where the whole video was on a green screen, and the intro was upside down. Maybe
could be.
I mean, I'm not sure if they had technology back then, but
Well, they did because Buddy Holly is all green screen and stuff
good
too, right? And
okay.
that came out not too long after. So maybe it was like a green screen thing.
just for that one spot, it's really funny. Just a little intro, just to confuse people. Yeah.
Also worth noting that this was the first single from the Blue Album.
Oh, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it came out. It was the first one that came out, and it was sort of like a moderate, like sort of like a not a hit. It did kind of okay on like the college radio and stuff like that, and I think the video was on 120 Minutes, which was like the MTV like alternative program back in the day. But I think it got them it got their foot in the door, but it didn't really take off, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously Buddy Holly just like blew them up. Yeah.
Wow, that kind of makes sense because I wouldn't release it as a single. At least if I could choose, I would be like, if I had the foresight, I would be like, okay, we'll release Sweater Song so that people kind of know what's going on, and then we'll do Buddy Holly. So maybe it was brilliant what they did, but I think it's not really a single sounding song. Besides the chorus, everything else in the song is strange.
With all the ranting before the verse, and also the fact that it's 5 minutes long is like kind of like not what you pick for a single typically.
Teen Spirit's 5 minutes long.
Is it really?
Yeah, 5:01.
What? Not.
Dang.
That song is kind of long.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a long
No,
song
because
to
it's
me.
the fucking best song ever written. And it's like
Wow.
They gotta do a radio edit of that song. Come on, there must be a radio.
there was a radio edit.
Okay.
They cut the intro down.
Was it? Well, that's all they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
They trimmed about 20 seconds off it.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
where does the song start in that radio edit?
It starts. It's like you get the normal intro like dang gang, and then like the drums come in and everything, and it gets loud, but it doesn't stay loud for as long.
Oh.
It's only a little bit of it. But I don't even know if they play the radio edit anymore. I think nowadays they just play the whole thing.
Man.
But back then they had an edit.
All right. So
One more thing to say about the Sweater Song is that that intro bit where it's like the talking between Matt Sharp and Carl, and then Carl and either Michael or Carly.
Yeah.
That was not planned. That's if you listen to the early versions of it, there's actually a much different thing going on in the intro.
Yeah.
It's like a sound collage of like all this like different stuff from like TV shows from the 80s, and like little snippets of songs, and like Darth Vader's in it at one point, and I think Yoda as well. And essentially, if I'm remembering the lore correctly, they couldn't get clearance for all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so they had to kind of just make something up on the spot, like while they were recording the album. And that's what they came up with.
Another thing too is the discussions they're having is the guy. I don't know if is it Carl who's the one who's talking the whole time.
Carl's the one who's like, yeah.
So he's kind of depressed himself. Like he's like disengaged with everyone he's talking to, and like, I mean, the girl's trying to use him for a ride, because like he's totally not engaged in the conversation, and she's trying to get a ride out of him. And the first guy's like talking about how it's so great to be together. I'm not sure if he's taking advantage of him at all, but. He's a very sad man in this discussion. Like he's not very happy. I guess he's the main character in it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the way I had read it. The Carl voice would be the surrogate of the dude who was like put himself out there. He's gone to this party, but he's not taking that next step of like trying to engage with people and relate to them, and he's just insular and keeping to himself.
That's what I'm like at parties.
Yeah.
People are approaching you and you're just like, yeah.
It makes me think. This has nothing to do with Weezer. This is just a story I always thought was funny. I've got this one buddy. I'm not going to say his name just in case he doesn't want me telling the story but I don't know why he wouldn't, but I'm discreet. I'm just going to be discreet about it. So I got this one buddy, and we were at a party, and it was pretty late, and he was pretty drunk. He had a lot to drink, and he was like standing there like I'm talking about so drunk at this point that like when you look at him, he's not really looking at you, like that level of drunk.
I've seen that look.
Looking through you kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
And he's in like this pool house, and he's like got this big bowl of like ketchup chips, and he's just going to town on them, and it's this is like 2 a.m. Like the party has been going for like a while, right? And like it's like the end of the night. And there was this girl trying to talk to him, and I think that she like thought he was cute and was sort of trying to like connect with him, and he was too loaded, and he couldn't he would just, that's not where he was. He was just so focused on the chips, and she goes and she's like, and I was just standing there watching it, like I was just kind of like an observer to this, right? And I think she tried pretty much everything she could think of to try and like start a conversation with him, and it just was going nowhere. And her like last ditch attempt was she was like, are those ketchup chips? And he just was like, he didn't even look at her, and he was just like, maybe. I was just like dying. At that point, I just was like,
oh my gosh. That's so good. And then she told him to take it easy, brah, and she left. That's hilarious. He must have been a really cute guy, or she must have been equally as drunk, because to see the dude who's just entirely focused on the ketchup chips and also like has a absent glazed over look in his eyes, and to be like, that's the guy who looks cool.
The guy in the boathouse eating chips by himself is the guy I want to talk to right now.
That guy's got charisma. That's so funny.
Less is more, man, sometimes, you know? Like, less is more when it comes to seduction.
Dude.
Maybe she thought he was playing hard to get or something, and was like, "Ooh, he doesn't even care about me. This is very intriguing."
It could be. It could be. I you know, whatever he was doing, it was working. But he knew what his priorities were.
That's right, yeah. To him, it was a successful night. He got to stick with his ketchup chips.
It's like, dude, you would not believe how many ketchup chips I got last night.
Yeah.
All his friends are high-fiving, and was like, the whole bowl? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Women love a man of mystery. Maybe they're ketchup chips.
Yeah.
Maybe they're barbecue. They're both red. Who knows?
And I love that, like, we'll move on for a second, but, like, the funniest part of it for me was that, like, he didn't even look up from the chips. Like, he was still just like, and she's like, are those ketchup chips? He's just like, maybe.
Yeah. Gosh. Like, she could have been the most beautiful girl in the world, and he did not care.
No, it was not important at all. Anyway.
Okay. All right, so we'll go on to side B. Surf Wax America, which is a Kumo Wilson's co-write. Or should I say Kumo Wilson co-write? Should I pluralize Wilsons at the end? I don't know if it matters or
It's
not.
a question for the ages.
Thoughts, feelings, complaints,
Suggestions.
Yeah. I think this is a really unique song. I think it's a good song to open a side B.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way, but following perhaps the most depressing song on the record, The World Has Turned is kind of there as well, but because I think this is the happiest song on the record. I think it's the most upbeat song. Buddy Holly would be there too, but this one is like Buddy Holly sort of has this edge to some of the lyrics, whereas Surf Wax, I think all the way through, is just a anthemic slacker rock song that they don't really do elsewhere on the record. And that being said, it also has these cool wrinkles that some other straightforward pop songs that Weezer does later on doesn't have. Like the bridge in this song is so unique. And so for them to be willing to put that in the middle of this slacker rock song, I think is really cool. Even though I will say that bridge part, I love the organ and the bass, and I love like the structure of it. I love the idea.
Okay, yeah.
You know, you take your car to work, but he's doing it in the falsetto, and then the harmony comes in. For some reason, when that second harmony comes in, I think it's like in the left ear, and when you're out of fuel, that is always sort of grated on me.
Okay.
That harmony.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's partly because it's in the falsetto voice, and partly because they're just sort of like weird whispered words to say that even though I like the idea of that part, it has just always sort of annoyed me, and it bums me out that it annoys me.
You just had a really nice alliteration. You said weird whispered words.
I'm trying to come up with a EP title for the next Guest Room Status thing. Maybe that's it.
It's pretty good.
And the whole EP is just the bridge of Surf Wax America.
Okay, so you call it the bridge. So yeah, it can be called the bridge, but the part before it is all along the undertow is striking me. What would you call that? The bridge one or?
To me, that feels like an extension of the chorus. Like, I feel like the first chorus is not the full chorus, and then when they come back and then get to the undertow part, to me, that feels like part B of the chorus.
Yes, so those two parts, so part A and part B of the chorus, are intertwined in that bridge part, which is really neat hearing that intertwining. Like, it happens with The World Has Turned and Left Me Here as well, like two different melodies sort of countering on top of each other.
Yeah, on Holiday, too.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, similar style, and it's like kind of like Beach Boys-ish.
Totally.
Yeah, I enjoy that same breakdown in Holiday as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love when the Rivers voice comes in all along the undertow and he's
Yeah.
down there hushed. I love that part. It's literally just those falsetto vocals that aren't done by Rivers that sort of just irk me. But I like the construction.
This is one that I've had my relationship with it goes. I go back and forth on this one.
Okay, yeah. This is a hated one, perhaps.
There's been times where I have.
I should make a note about this.
There's been times in my life where I have
keeping a notebook like you're playing Clue.
Yeah. There's been times in my life where I have really. Oh, there he is. There's been times in my life where I've really loved this one, and I know how to play it, and I've enjoyed playing it before, and I think it's a really good song. There's nothing on the Blue album that's like less than an 8 out of 10 for me, right? Like,
yeah,
I agree with that.
So it's like a brilliant song, but there have been times, there's something about it where I think it might be something about the way Rivers' voice is almost mixed, like not the way that he's singing and but it just, the Blue album is a very dry album, right? In terms of the production, like there's not a lot of effect, there's not a lot of reverb. It's really dry.
Yeah, straight to it's really straight. Yeah.
And I like that, but for some reason, and I get it's a little bit on My Name Is Jonas as well, that I feel like his voice is like kind of too dry. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's for some reason kind of bugs me. But that's sort of my only real.
And by dry, does that mean that you can like hear it too clearly?
I mean, it's almost like it's too low in the mix almost for me, and it's really dry. Like there's no, it just sounds like
like no reverb, you mean?
Yeah, it sounds like there's no space to it. There's no space around it at all, right? And a lot of the vocals on the album sound like that because they're all mixed. The entire album is like uniformly mixed. It sounds every song sounds very much like they're from one session. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me elsewhere on the album. It only bothers me on the verses of Surfwax and some parts of Jonas, where it's like his voice sounds too small or something like that, or too thin and dry and sort of brittle.
Okay.
That's my only. But my favorite thing about Surfwax America is there's a live B-side of it. Do you guys know about this one?
No.
It was the B-side to, I want to say, maybe the Buddy Holly single, one of the Blue album singles anyway.
Yeah.
And there's this great live version where the bridge, like that quiet part, rolls around, right? And it gets really quiet. And you can obviously hear the audience start to kind of go, right?
Yeah.
And there's this one part where it's like, and I don't know, maybe we can edit it in or something like that, or I don't know. But there's this one part where like it's like they're going like, you take your car to work, and then you just hear this dude somewhere in the audience be like, smoke dope.
Probably the perfect song to yell that.
Yeah. And then you hear, and then it's like, and then it kind of like it's like gets quiet again for a bit, and then you hear him again like a few seconds later, but it sounds like he's further away, and you just
security's carrying him out.
So, and me and my buddy Timbo, shout out to my buddy Timbo, hi Tim. When we were younger, we used to like when we were in our late teens, kind of early 20s, we would just like sit in my car and like listen to this. I remember we had like these huge sessions of like just analyzing this like 30 seconds of this bridge, and we came up with we had two possible hypotheses for like how come he sounds further away, and I love that now we've got a third one that security came and was
that
like,
sounds very plausible. I thought that's what was going on.
Yeah, we thought maybe he was a crowd surfer.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though crowd surfing during the quiet part of Surfwax
yeah.
would be a choice.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I remember Tim thinking was that maybe they were panning mics over the audience.
Oh,
right.
And the mics might have been panned or something like that. But at any rate, do yourselves a favor.
Yeah.
And it's on the Blue Album Deluxe version. If you go on Spotify, as soon as you can, go on the Blue Album Deluxe and listen to the live Surfwax.
Dude. And if the guy who yelled "smoke dope" is listening to this podcast, get in contact with us. Yeah. We need to figure out what happened.
We want to know what happened.
Kind of like a whole like documentary about this guy, like trying to track him down.
And we analyzed this into like the barest, like the smallest minutia. And like if you listen to it, actually you hear him almost yelling a little bit before Smoke Dope. Like it's not just like a Smoke Dope. It's like he's almost like, yeah, Smoke Dope, Smoke Dope.
Which might speak to the crowd surfing theory,
Right?
That he's sort of up there and he's trying to, he's not stable, literally or figuratively.
Something about the song is that, like, first of all, the idea of taking a surfboard to work instead of a car is impossible. I mean,
I guess it depends where you work.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
If you work on like an island, it might be the other way around.
That's true. And does anybody know the lyrics to the second verse? Because we were doing a translation of it in French recently, and I was shocked because I didn't know they were saying that. I thought they were saying something different. It's
like my homies and their, is it the hotties or their honeys?
Yeah, something like that. Hotties or honeys.
Yeah, my homies. I always thought it was like my homies and their. Just off my memory, it sounds like hotties.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It might be honeys. All come along. They seem invincible as they surf along. The sea is rolling like 1,000-pound keg. I thought is what it said.
Yeah.
I'm going surfing.
Yeah. Anyway, those are some fast words they're spitting out there. And again, the word homies gets brought up.
Yeah, it's true. 2 homies in one album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the ending of it too. Was like, oh,
it rocks so hard. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. There's some gnarly like low string kind of bends there. Like boom, 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 boom. It's cool. Really, really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. To me, it's the slightest song lyrically
Sure.
up until this point, and honestly, looking at the rest of the songs, probably entirely. But that doesn't mean that it's the worst song lyrically. Like, I think it's doing exactly what it wants to. I think every song doesn't have to have some sort of deeper meaning behind it. I think this is perfectly just a song about wanting to be carefree and different from everyone else. And while he does it, it's actually a great written song lyrically. Like the sea is foaming like a bottle of beer. Like that's a cool way to phrase it. And it's just cool to write a song about surfing, especially when if all facts are true, Rivers does not surf.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm thinking about is that, like, if number one, I think it's hard to write a happy song that doesn't sound dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's kind of hard to do, and he does it really well sometimes, and has throughout his career. Sometimes he's missed the mark, but the thing that I was just thinking as I was listening to you was that, like, I bet that, like, if they put out Surf Wax America today, a certain contingent of Weezer fans would be like, "This is so stupid. Why isn't he writing? Why isn't he writing personal lyrics and like all that stuff?" Right? Totally.
That's a good point. Actually, I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot more hate around it.
Yeah.
Just because of its content is not like. Is there like a super deep meaning to this one?
No, I think it wears it on its sleeve for sure. Like, it's not a song literally about surfing because, as you said, maybe, but Rivers has never surfed as far as we know.
Yeah.
It's a song about being carefree.
Yeah.
But there is a statement about office life, or like the rat race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also because you take your car to work. I'm gonna take my board. I'm not sure where he's going, but
I guess he's still got to go to work, but he's
we should have fun going to work at least.
But it doesn't seem like it could be a song that's written from an entirely personal experience, because as far as I know, Rivers never had like an office job or anything like that. He worked at Tower Records, and he had like a couple of other sort of like.
But maybe that's what it is, though, is that other people are taking their cars to their office, and he's taking his metaphorical surfboard to a record store. Maybe.
Oh, like his job is just like more carefree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, I didn't think about that until right now, so maybe I'm completely off. But
I also have just got a little bit of a flash of a memory of like when I was younger, like when I was a teenager listening to this song.
Yeah.
I always, even though I knew it was a song about surfing, I always imagined that he was talking about taking his skateboard to work.
Yeah. Maybe it is that, actually. I'll take my board.
Yeah, I think it's just because I lived really, 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 really far away from anywhere where you could possibly surf, and so the only boards that I could imagine were I don't know. Anyway,
All right, so we go on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
You think it's cool with you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Song 7 is Say It Ain't So. It was the third single from the album. And for me, I find it to be the most unique sounding one on the album, based on the idea that it's using a clean guitar sound for the verses. I don't know if there's any other song on this album that has a clean guitar. Like there's acoustic guitar.
Undone has clean guitar in it for the intro. And
Oh, good point.
And the verses and stuff.
But then in the verse, they also use acoustic with it as well.
Yeah. A little bit of clean guitar in Only in Dreams as well.
Oh yes. I guess.
But Say It Ain't
it's not as strummed, I guess.
No,
yeah.
but you're right, because in Say It Ain't So, it's not like something that's going on in the background or like a supplemental part. It's like the focus of the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it feels very different than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like it to me, it sounds like it's. If there was one song that sounded like it could be from a different album, it would be this one. Anyway, that's my intro to it. Any thoughts?
It was released as a single much later than the other ones. So if you look at this is just a little bit of trivia.
Yeah.
If you look at when the singles came out, I think it was Undone, if I'm not mistaken, I know it's the first one. I think that was like May 94.
Yeah.
And then Buddy Holly, if I'm not mistaken, was like summer 94, like later in summer 94, possibly even early fall. And then Say It Ain't So came out like almost a year later. It came out in July 95.
Yeah.
I guess they're touring. I guess,
Yeah, they were touring like crazy.
And that probably speaks to just how popular Buddy Holly and its video was.
Yeah.
That they could just ride that momentum. They didn't have to put out that single
Yeah, that's true.
for a long time.
I love the video. Before we get into because Say It Ain't So is a really deep song, and I feel like we could probably say a lot about it. I love the video for it. It's really cool. It's meant to mimic it's not even meant to mimic. It is shot in the house where like Weezer and lived, basically, right? And the garage that they're in for the music video is like the garage, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really cool. They're like this gigantic band, and they film like, this like relatively low budget video in their like old rehearsal space in LA. You know what I mean?
I wonder if they had to if they still owned it, they still had like rights to go back inside that place.
So it's a house, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on a street called Amherst Avenue.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still there, but if I'm recalling correctly, when they filmed the video, obviously they weren't living there anymore, but like they knew who was, and it was like, we'll just go and shoot the video there, set everything up the way it looked before, and do it. Also, you can see from the video that the members of Weezer are all like decent hacky sack players.
In the bridge.
They can all hack a sack.
You had to in the 90s. If you wanted to be anyone, you had to hack a sack.
Also, more trivia on this one is if you look at Brian Bell in this, he doesn't have eyebrows.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he shaved his eyebrows.
Just for the video?
I don't know if it was for the video or if he was like going through like a Bowie phase or something. Like, I'm not sure, but he's got no eyebrows.
I'm pretty sure that it wasn't for the video because I think they were avoiding filming him. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, he's not in the video much.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the focus is even when they have the front camera, you can mostly see Rivers and Matt.
Yeah. I'm assuming he did it and he was embarrassed about it or something. Yeah.
He also, if you watch the, do you remember the DVD they put out, Video Capture Device, in 2004? Did you ever have that?
I never saw it.
Oh yeah,
I think I've seen clips of it somewhere.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. It's like this DVD that has all their music videos on it, and then a bunch of like sort of archival footage from their recording sessions and stuff like that. Everything basically up to Maladroit, right?
Cool.
And you can watch the videos with commentary.
Band commentary?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rivers isn't there. It's not Rivers. It's Brian, Scott Schreiner.
What's Scott going to say about this stuff?
He has a lot to say about it because he's asking questions the whole time.
Oh, okay.
It's really interesting.
He plays the part of the viewer.
Totally. And so it's Brian Bell, Pat Wilson, Scott Schreiner, and Carl. And one of the things that Brian Bell says in this that's always stuck with me, and I think about it every time I watch the video, is he's like kind of mournfully on the commentary track being like, God, I used to have some cool shirts.
Like, what happened to me, man? My style's gone down.
Anyway, I'll turn it over to one of you guys now. I just wanted to add a little bit more
That's
trivia
really
to
cool. I'm gonna see if those are online. That's really cool.
Yeah.
The Say It Ain't So video, and I guess by extension the song, was the tune that must have actually got me into Weezer. Like I said, my guitarist in my cover band would play that riff, and I would constantly ask him what it's from, and he would say it ain't so. So at some point, I must have just decided, I think I got it recommended to me on YouTube a lot, and eventually I clicked on it, and so I would watch that video over and over. Like that, I've seen that video way more than the Buddy Holly video.
Yeah.
And I love the video too. I think it's just really simple and evocative and nostalgic, and also doesn't detract from the song at all. You know, it's such a powerful song. Lyrically, I think it's perhaps the most emotionally bare song on the album, because even in stuff like No One Else in the World Is Turned, which is very dark, I can sort of tell myself that maybe he's playing a character. Whereas in Say It Ain't So, it is so personal, and it's so clearly about a unique experience that he had, that I think if they had done a Buddy Holly type video, I think it might have detracted from it. And so I used to watch the Say It Ain't So video over and over, and I was amazed by what a powerful song it is. And that's another one like Buddy Holly where I've heard it so many times and it hasn't gotten old. In fact, it just keeps revealing itself to be more brilliant to me as I listen to more music and become a better musician. And I'm like, wow, they had it.
But it took me a while to realize how much meaning the song had, because like when he says the lines, somebody's hiney is crowding my icebox. I thought the word hiney was referring to someone's ass.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Someone's ass is in an icebox? What does this mean?
Yeah.
And I thought it was like random stuff.
Who is this Jeffrey Dahmer dude?
I didn't quite get it at first, and but I guess because reading about it, I learned that it was about his father's like alcoholism, and then seeing a Heineken in the fridge that his stepdad put there, and thought that it was going to be the same repeated alcoholism.
It's going to happen again.
Yeah. And I guess later on, this bottle of Stevens, is Stevens is it a liquor or an alcohol or something?
I'm not sure, but I don't know for sure, but I always thought that Stevens was a person. Like I always thought Steven was. Was a person.
I had never thought of it like that. I think
it could be a liquor.
It could work both ways. I had figured it was a liquor, and it was just another way to get to that play on words of, you know, this bottle of liquor has got me thinking about my dad. Yeah. So I think it works on both levels. That's really cool.
There's also musically the bridge.
Well, there's another modulation right there.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like. And it's not really super obvious what key to me anyway. What key the bridge is in? Yeah, I could maybe like it's in B. Like I want to say like it's sort of like a anyway. It's I'm pretty sure it's in B. All the chords from it could fit into a modulation to B, and it would be like sort of like almost a B major, B minor modulation. Anyway, regardless, very, very, very cool modulation, and the way that he goes back into the home key of the song is really, really interesting, because he does it from a very dissonant. He does it in a very dissonant way. He goes from like a G power chord into C sharp power, and it's like it almost doesn't get more jarring than that.
But it feels really good to me. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. You can make it work. There's another good example of that is About a Girl by Nirvana.
Oh yeah.
It can be really melodic, but it is also quite dissonant and pretty jarring.
I honestly, I think it's like a magic trick that he was able to pull it off, and the note that he holds over that vocally. The sun is drowning in the flood, I think is one of my favorite moments on the album. And so the fact that he's able to figure out how to disguise that, I guess, would you call it a key change?
For sure.
Going from G to C sharp, and then the solo hits, and it's just.
Maybe it's possible that the note he sang somehow branched the two parts together, maybe.
He's going up to, if I'm recalling correctly, and I'm like 90% sure I am. He's singing The sun is drowning in the flood. Right? I think he's singing. I'm speaking as if we're in standard tuning now. Obviously, we're not.
Yeah.
I think he's singing a G sharp. I think he goes right up to the G sharp, which is the fifth of C sharp.
Yeah.
So it works. Yeah. So he's playing in that G chord. He's singing notes that you would expect over a G chord, and then he just goes right to this G sharp.
Okay. And the classic Weezer thing that they do on this album is when they're playing power chords that start on the A string, they're barring the low E string.
Totally.
So when he goes back to that C sharp, he must be playing a G sharp.
Yeah, in the bass, he is for sure.
Okay. And the solo, of course, as you were saying, is like, wow. I don't need to hum it, but
But that's the thing. You could hum it because
Yeah.
it's so singable. It's so melodic. And stands out so much. It feels like a separate part, and it's so expertly played, like every bend, and then when the left guitar comes in to do that
that's
little
really
call
neat.
and response.
yeah, that call and response thing, I love that.
I think it's one of the best guitar solos of all time. I think.
Yeah,
I think it's incredible.
it's beautiful, man.
This is another song that if you listen to the early demos of it, there's 2 early demos of it.
Yeah.
He plays a solo that is really technical.
Yes,
and
yes, I have heard this one
really,
before.
really complicated. But it's still really good. Especially there's one in particular I'm thinking of that's really emotional. Like you can hear the emotion in the notes that he's playing and the way that he's bending them. But it's like shreddy. It's like really, really, really shreddy. And I'm recalling him actually saying that he, when he sort of came up with the intro riff of Say It Ain't So, if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember him saying that he was sort of inspired by Hendrix. Mm-hmm. That it was like sort of like he was like a sort of like Little Wing, sort of like Wind Will Cry Mary kind of thing that he was sort of going for.
Okay, crazy. Another strange thing, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, is the first 2 verses are 3 bars, and the third verse is 4 bars.
Interesting. I never noticed that.
So it's like somebody's honey. No. Anyway, you do that pattern 3 times.
Yeah.
And for the fourth, for the I Can't Confront You, it actually goes for an extra bar.
Whoa.
So it blew your mind.
That's really cool, man. I never noticed that.
Wow.
Yeah, I never noticed it until I started playing it more and like really thinking about it. Like I've been playing it for a long time, but it's like I guess recording in French and stuff, I started like thinking about it a lot more. But anyway,
I also sorry, go ahead.
no, I was then my sentence. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that I have a really specific memory of this, and you were at this concert because we were both at that Weezer, the one in Montreal in 2002.
Oh, yeah,
You told me
okay.
that, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just didn't know each other. And I have a really specific memory. So I actually bootlegged that show. I recorded.
I remember you were saying that before. Yeah.
And I still have it. It's an awful sounding recording. It's really, really, really bad. But I actually had.
It sounds like Hurley.
Yeah, it's the exact same quality as her.
Yeah. I went to because I was a teen at the time and I didn't have a job, so I didn't have very much money, and I'd already blown a bunch of it on this Weezer ticket.
Oh man.
And the bus ticket to get there because I need to take the bus. So, but I was desperate to bootleg this show. So I went to Radio Shack and I got like a mini cassette recorder.
Yeah.
That you could plug an external microphone into. Right.
Okay.
This is an aside. I'm going to take as a long version of the story here. Right. And so I snuck it into the Molson Center in my belt. Like I put it straight down the front of my pants because I figured no one was gonna like touch my crotch, you know what I mean, when they patted me down. So that was the case. So I got it in there, and then while I think Saves the Day was opening, and
I do remember that.
Wow.
yeah, and I did a test recording because I had a pretty good seat. Like I was in the stands, but I was in like the 100s or whatever, and I was really close to the stage on Brian's side.
Oh, that's okay.
And I did a test recording with my little shitty device to see like what I would get. And I listened to it, and it was hard to tell because the crowd was so loud, right? But I was like, it sounds really distorted. It sounds really, really bad. And if I want to get a clear recording of this concert, I'm going to have to find a different seat. I'm going to have to like move, right? So I left my super good seat, okay, and wandered around the Molson Center in between bands and sort of snuck up onto the balcony, right? So I was directly facing the stage, but I was now higher up and a little bit further away on the balcony. So I recorded it from there. And all of this to say that when they played Say It Ain't So, and this was the first concert I'd ever been to. Like, I'd never been to, this is my first one. When they played Say It Ain't So, I don't know if you remember this the way I do, but the crowd,
I can't remember at all.
The entire stadium, and this was a big show. It was probably the biggest Weezer show I've ever been to. Like, that whole place was full. It was like a hockey arena.
Yeah.
The entire crowd started singing the chorus. Obviously, it was like a big sing along, and I remember that the balcony was like vibrating when everybody started singing.
Wow.
The balcony started shaking, and I remember being like, "Holy fuck! Like, this is crazy." Yeah, so that's whenever I listen to Say It Ain't So, I can remember that being like sitting in the balcony and just feeling like it start to vibrate.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you still have the recordings?
Yeah, but I ruined them though. I really did.
Well, they're not listenable anymore?
No, they're not. Because I didn't know this because I just didn't know. I was just a kid.
Oh, the tapes got ruined?
No. Sandy, ruined the recording by singing along.
Oh.
So
You're
not
like yelling right into the mic.
So
Say it.
not only no, I wasn't. I was holding the mic kind of like this.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And I didn't think, because the band was so loud, I didn't think that you would possibly be able to hear me singing along. So I was singing along, and then when I went back and listened to it, the other thing is that I actually missed the. Are we okay there?
Yeah, I was making sure that I just keep checking it periodically in case something shuts off. But yeah.
Okay. I actually missed. I got lost in the Montreal subway station, and I actually missed my bus back to Ottawa, so I had to sleep in the bus station that night.
Oh, no.
Right? And I was like, it's not. Yeah, and I was like 17, and like I called my mom and I was like, I'm gonna sleep in the bus station tonight, and she's like, what? And it was a big deal. But and there was these other Weezer fans there too from the show. It wasn't too bad, but I had the opportunity to listen to the show. Right, because I just recorded it, so I was like, "This isn't too bad. I can just sit here for 6 hours and listen to the show." And as soon as I put it in, and the first chorus of "In the Garage" starts, you can hear me singing along like poorly, right?
Wow, dude, I think that makes it cooler. Like, that would of course at the time that would bum you out, but now like as a relic, 20 years later,
yeah, that's true.
Really cool.
That's true. I still have the master tape somewhere.
Okay.
I still got it, and that recording actually never circulated. We're discussing an unsurfaced Weezer recording
You were
right
the
now.
only one who bootlegged it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, nice. That's very valuable.
Yeah, Feb 15, 2002 in Montreal.
And also, lead singer of Teenage Fiction is doing backup vocals on it as well.
Yeah.
That's right. That's your first Weezer. You were featured on multiple Weezer tracks. That's a great story, and it speaks to something that I think Say It Ain't So still probably has more so. How much this song has endured. I think you play that song at any open mic, at any slip it into a cover for any set, and I think that's the song that people are gonna sing. I don't think it's the most it's not the most listened to on Spotify. It probably isn't their most successful single when you just look at like how much it sold back in the day.
Yeah.
But I think it's the one that has persisted the most. It like had a cult following that then became even huger, and that the chorus is just so huge.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's. Oh no, Undone is what. Well, no. Wait, no. Never mind. It's basically the same four chords, except for the bridge, and then Undone the Sweater Song has the same four chords except for their bridge solo thing. But yeah, it's kind of like making four chords work for a song is like. It's really good.
It's also just if it starts on a different chord, so it sounds different, but it's the same chords as "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies.
Yeah.
I noticed that early on because I think those were two of the earliest songs I learned, and the fact that it does sound like "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies, but it's also immediately recognizable, even though it's just four chords, because of the way he was able to pick out those voicings, and he hits some of the open strings in the chords that most people probably wouldn't think to hit if they were to write that song.
Yeah, well, because especially on the G sharp that he does, it's really dissonant.
Yeah,
like it's very dissonant, and that's like I was saying on like Undone, right? Like it sort of doesn't sound good, but it sounds good, right?
I think it kind of creates. Sorry, I can't pronounce that properly. It said curates, but creates the the quirky sound that this album's kind of known for, where like later on, Only in Dreams
Totally.
uses like some off keys as well, like off notes. Mm-hmm. Keep saying off keys, off notes. It's like not quite dark, but it's like not quite poppy.
Yeah, it's tense. It's like tension, right?
But yeah, so the next song is unless people have something more to say about it. I don't mean to interrupt.
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
The verses of Say It Ain't So, I love how sparse they are. I love the upstroke guitar, and I noticed through listening to the album that the way he's singing lower in his register so that those choruses really hit. And to me, it has the space that The World Has Turned didn't have for me upon listening.
Yeah.
Again, where he's singing fairly low and The World Has Turned and Left Me Here, but it's over like distorted guitars, a much faster pace. And so I've never quite connected with some of the melodies in The World Has Turned, but in Say It Ain't So, he's down in that same register, but the song has this space to breathe. And so I think even though the chorus is so good in this song, the verses like are right there with it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the third verse especially, where like it kind of builds, and he started off low and then kind of goes a bit high, like this. Water's not away from me to dip it.
Oh yeah, that's such a.
Particularly for every day.
It's like it's almost like he's singing a guitar lick.
Yeah.
That's true.
The other thing that that just if we're just kind of giving final thoughts on this, we have not spoken about yet. I feel like it's rightly so. People talk about like how incredible the solo is and the chorus and everything, right? I think that the little bluesy licks that he plays in between the verses are phenomenal. They're so clean and like precise and just like bluesy. Like it's truly like bluesy stuff. You know what I mean? It's very, very cool.
The second one, which I learned the whole song. The second one is quite challenging.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like I had to keep playing it over and over again, and now I've forgotten it. But yeah, they're like both very beautiful, and like when you learn how to play them, it's very satisfying to like hear it in a band, and it's like, wow, that sounds really nice. Like,
yeah. I don't know how you write that, and I don't even know how you decide to write that for something that those licks start and end within like 4 seconds.
Yeah,
like
true,
they're barely part of the song. The song could be huge without them.
Yeah.
But he went that extra mile, and he's such a good guitarist that he could pull it off. It's just a little subtle thing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's really true.
Rivers was and is like we all know this, and I already said this once today, but he is like a bona fide shredder. Like he can play like the most technical guitar pieces that you could imagine. Rivers can play. He dials it so far back for Weezer, and then you get these little glimpses every once in a while of his true ability on the instrument. Same with Pat Wilson, actually.
Yeah.
Pat Wilson is an unbelievable drummer, and like he can play like his like favorite band in the world is Rush.
Oh,
right?
cool.
And you get like little glimpses throughout the Weezer discography of the fact that he is like a total beast on the drums, but just like. That's another thing that I think is really cool about Weezer is you have these guys who are like, and Shriner as well can shred on bass. Like they're all really, really, really like top-notch musicians who strip it way back, right? Like it's not about any one person's ability. It's about like this whole thing that's going on, right?
I don't know much about the Velvet Underground, but my understanding is that they were, well, I'm not sure how amazing they were as musicians, but they apparently like toned down whatever talent they had, because apparently the Velvet Underground's like very simple music.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about them, so I shouldn't speak about them that much. But
right. Well, and I don't mean to suggest that the only people who are amazing musicians are people who are really, really technically proficient, because that's not something I believe at all. But the Weezer are at the technical level very, very, very advanced musicians who are choosing to play relatively simple music, and I think that's one of the cool things about them.
Yeah, totally agree. And there are some moments on basically every song on this album where little wrinkles come through, where even when they're playing something standard, they do something, and you're like, oh, these guys are totally locked in. They know exactly what they're doing. Like 2 examples in this song is in the final chorus of "Say It Ain't So." when Pat on the drums, normally he's just doing, it's kind of like a We Will Rock You beat, do do ch, do do ch, but then works perfectly. And there's one moment where he just hits the snare twice instead. He goes do do ch, do do ch, and then he goes
Yeah,
as
okay, I know what you're
opposed
talking
to,
about,
it's
yeah.
a little drum hook, and I bet you like people, if you go back and listen to the song, you'll know what I mean. It's just this little thing that like helps build the momentum and shows that they're all locked in. And the other example is in the bridge when they're just hammering out these big big chords, and Matt Sharp, he does this. I'd never noticed it before.
A little bass,
He does a little bass walk. He does it in the verse, which is awesome. That do 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 do. But in the bridge, he does this thing. It's right after the line, right after Rivers says "this bottle." I always thought that in that bridge, Matt was just playing the root notes of each thing, do 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 do.
Yeah.
But he does this thing where like, I don't know what notes he's playing, but it's like he's doing this little walk down or something, or before he then hits the next root note.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And it
Boom, boom, boom.
oh yeah, and it just shows that like these guys are so dialed into each other. And even though this whole album is like pristinely produced and feels so clean, it also still feels like a band playing together.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And when a final thing just about like amazing like musical moments is that like typically like the motif of the drums is but like from the end of the solo into the last chorus, Pat Wilson repeats the same drum motif of like the but he goes like he does like a much more complicated like version of it, like it's like a much more bigger role, and like I'm not much of a drummer, but I've never been able to recreate what he did. It's been pretty amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like off kilter, right? Like it's sort of, it's like it kind of like, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like he like crowds a lot of notes into like one little spot,
Yeah.
and then he goes into a slower roll from that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like he's taking the regular motif and like complicating it to like 100% or whatever percent. He's turning the volume up to 12. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a Letterman performance of that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And in that bridge, the camera is just in front of Rivers, sort of a wide shot, but you can't see Brian, you can't see Matt. You just see Rivers standing in place because he had a leg brace on at the time. And Pat is on the drums behind him. And as a drummer, when I was a kid watching this, I would just watch Pat because he's doing such simple stuff, but then he has these little fills of just when he decides to hit the cymbal with the snare or hit two toms. And it's just like expert drumming for what he needs to do. And then there's a great moment where Matt Sharp like jumps into
I know what
frame
you're talking
as
about.
he's
Yeah, yeah.
slamming out these root notes, and it's just, that's Weezer to me.
All right, so we'll move on to In the Garage.
Let's do it.
Other than My Name is Jonas, it's the only other song that has a harmonica in it. Interestingly enough, too, it actually is there is another song on the album that is in 6/8 time. So these two songs have something in common. They're both 6/8 and harmonica.
In the Garage is in 4/4.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Holidays in 6/8.
Okay. This is a problem I have with In the Garage.
Tell it.
I always think it's in 6/8. The da-na-na-na-na-na. Like it has that kind of like feel to me. Anyways,
Yeah,
okay,
the
I'm completely wrong.
the chords don't change on the. It's like. No, they change right on the beat.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It has a feel of a 6/8.
It has a bit of a swing for it.
It does have a swing. It does. Yeah.
Today I was listening to that song and I was like, "This isn't 6/8," and I had to confirm it wasn't, and I completely forgot. Anyway, so "Holiday" is a song in 6/8. In the Garage is in 4/4. I apologize. I'll cut that part out. In the Garage has a harmonica in it, like My Name is Jonas, and that's all they have in common.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitars, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally.
Any thoughts about this? Anybody want to take the first stab at it?
I think this is one of the best songs on the album.
Nice.
This one is in my top 3 for sure.
Kevin's updating his clue.
Yeah.
His clue sheet.
This one is this one is, I think, in a lot of ways, I was thinking about, because like, how come I like this one so much, and why do I rate it so highly? I think that it sort of has like a little bit of everything that the Blue Album does right is happening all in this song.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? I like that, and it's sung a little bit like Say It Ain't So, where like there's not much symbolism in it. It's not really. It's very much just like it's about what it's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it I don't know, something about it really speaks to me. I love the fuzzed out guitar tone in the verses. Like, it's so crackly and sharp, but like it's like really smooth too.
I think it's different than the rest of the album. It
100%.
feels different for me. Whereas this one, when people say that Weezer is like a distorted power chord band, this is the song that I always think of. Those verses.
Yeah, totally. I feel like the melody is a very effective. Like the chorus melody is almost like a classic pop melody. It's so effective, and I think that the solo is it's one of my favorite solos that he does.
It has a lot of bends in it.
Just because it's so weird, like it's so fucked up and kind of weird sounding. And then right at the end of it, he does that really technical run. You know what I mean? like it's like this super weird song with all these like sort of like messy bends, and it's really sloppy, but it's also really precise. And then right at the end, like in the last second of the solo, he shows you a little bit of his like inner like Van Halen. You know what I mean? And he just does this super bluesy technical run down.
If I'm not mistaken, the part that goes do 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 do. I can't hum probably.
Yeah, no.
Was there a voice doing it with the guitar solo? Was that just in my head?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
Like a falsetto voice doing it.
Was that Matt Sharp doing that? Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
All right, but yeah.
That's my and also this is what they opened with at the they opened within the garage. Yeah, I think it's almost a perfect song. Like, I really like it.
There's a lot of cultural references in it to the members of Kiss, Ace Frehley,
Peter Criss.
Yeah.
Trying to think what Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah, Kitty Pryde, Nightcrawler, comic book characters.
Yeah, there's. I was reading about it today, I think, or in the past few days, and like, it gave them like their nerd rock status. This song is like a lot of nerd references in it. I appreciate the harmonica. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say about it. I guess I enjoy this song, but I guess I haven't given a lot of thought to it.
I really love this tune too. For me, this is a sleeper hit from the album. It's one that I don't often think about. I guess it's coming kind of late on the album, and it has a lot of qualities that up to this point on the record we've heard before. Sure. It's got the crunchy guitars. Even the harmonica isn't totally new at this point. But I think the construction of it is so good. Yeah. All the melodies are so good. For it to start with that acoustic melody, and other songs have started with the acoustic guitar, but this is Rivers wrote this one by himself, and I think you can feel it, that melody that starts the song, that the harmonica then replicates, is so evocative. The lyrics are so Rivers, definitely nerdy, but I think it's like what he would do on Pinkerton, where he's just writing about like what's true to him, what's true to his life, without giving much regard for how people are going to perceive it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The solo reminds me of Pinkerton too, because it's so wild.
Yeah,
especially
true,
coming after Say It Ain't So, which had such a melodic solo. In the Garage is so frantic, and it makes me think of Rivers just being in his garage and just like deciding he's alone and he's just gonna go wild. He's gonna shred. He's gonna do the stuff he loved growing up. The vocalization on the solo reminds me of Pinkerton. I love the bass tone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it the after the first chorus, the verse with no guitar in it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just bass, and it's so crunchy, and I think it's really clever too because he says, "I've got electric guitar,"
Yeah.
and there's no electric guitar, and then when the electric guitar comes in, it's later
It's
than
late.
you would think.
Yeah.
You know, also, I write these stupid songs. I write these stupid words. He's making like it's like kind of meta.
It is meta. It is meta, and I love everyone. And then I think the ending of the song is also like is kind of melancholy, but beautiful because he's saying, "In the garage, I feel safe. No one hears me sing this song," and he repeats it. No one hears me sing this song.
So you can put your
Well, it's just
with it.
if he hadn't left the garage, no one would have ever heard any of this music, and he wouldn't have got what he wanted. And so he's like singing about how no one hears him, and suddenly I'm wondering if that's a positive, or he's like, no one hears me, so I have to get out of this garage. I have to make this record.
What I appreciate about that part too, about the no one hears me, was no one hears
Yeah.
me. It's the care. It shows that they took like some care in writing the song. Like, I guess like some bands could come together and say, okay, we're gonna do the verse, the chorus, verse, the solo chorus, and then end it. And it's like when you put like an ending to it like that, like no one hears, no one. They do a rise and a fall. It's like, I don't know. It wasn't put together in haste. It was a very well thought out song.
Yeah.
It happens at Buddy Holly. I don't care about that. Although it is the same melody over and over again, but it's like the fact that In the Garage has this kind of like no one hears me, no one hears me, no one. It's kind of an extra bit of care.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to reiterate that I think this is, and in fact, I think that the last 3 songs on the Blue album are the best 3 songs on the Blue album. I'll give you a big hint there.
Oh.
Yeah, that little three-peat at the end there is I think the most solid run of just back-to-back songs on the whole thing.
Do you want to say anything else, or should we go on to something else?
No, let's do it. Let's go on.
All right, Holiday is the song that's in 6/8 without the harmonica.
Alternate title. I thought it was too long.
It reminds me of like very Beach Boys-y ish.
Totally.
Like even like the lyrics themselves. I guess about like escaping on a holiday. I'm not going to quote everything, but don't bother to pack your bags. We don't know where we're going. And I love the. It's I don't know if you call it a post chorus. The heartbeat. The that like very minor.
Yeah,
like,
it goes in the minor.
I find that very beautiful, and like the bridge of the song is beautiful with the intertwining vocal lines.
There's also a really one of my favorite moments on the entire album is when he blasts that really high note going into the last chorus. He's like, and we don't understand anyway.
Oh
Yeah, and the fact that he comes out of it with that run, like he's like all of a sudden like an R&B singer.
Totally.
And it sounds so good.
Yeah.
He can really belt. He still can, but like Young Rivers could like really belt. Yeah. And that's like one of the best recorded belts that Young Rivers ever did, bar none, for sure. Holiday is actually, I find, and I haven't tried it in a while, but I find Holiday to actually be a very challenging song to sing.
It is. Yeah.
It's hard. Because you're cooking up in those like G sharps and those F sharps, like it's a pretty high, like for most like sort of male tenors, it's about as high as you can go before like having to you kind of go into more of a mixed sound, right? Like it's sort of at the top of your chest voice range, right? Yeah. And he just hangs out there the whole song, like the entire song. He just hangs out pretty much right at the top of his chest range, right? And if you don't have the chops to do that, I don't have the chops to do that. Like I get fatigued really, like by the time the third chorus comes along, my voice is tired, right? So it's a speaks to his technical command of his voice, even when he was in his early 20s.
Yeah, he makes it sound effortless on this song. I think this is one of my favorites too, and it became a favorite later on. I think it's even in the garage I started to like before I liked this one. It's late on the album. It's a pretty short song. I think the choruses are a bit less identifiable than on the other songs. And so I remember as a kid when I was listening to the CD, basically the only part that would stick out to me is the heartbeat part, that repetition of the lyric. But when I really started listening to this album a lot, maybe 5 years ago or so, this one just kept growing on me. I absolutely love the lick that starts it.
Totally.
Because they didn't have to do that. They could have started just right with the E chord right at the beginning, and then there's a bit of musical foreshadowing because then they play it again right before the outro. The whole thing pauses, kind of like Buddy Holly.
So good. That's such a satisfying moment.
Yeah.
And
Let's go. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, and there are just so many little moments where the band is like totally locked in. The second time they do the heartbeat part, there's a really cool kick pattern that Pat's doing that I never noticed until I listened with nice headphones. I think the melodies the whole time are just like so flowy, and this song, Life's Like Surf Wax, has that breakdown where you've got the other vocalists doing a repeating thing. This time it's lower, and then Rivers comes in on the road with Kerouac. This one works for me entirely. Like, this almost makes me dislike the one in Surf Wax a bit more.
Totally.
Because it's sort of the same idea, and to me this just does it better. And then when you get right to the end, on this road we'll never, and they start to build, and then it goes into the just slamming. I think this song is a 10 out of 10. I love it.
I agree, and it as a bit of trivia, if I'm recalling correctly, this is the last song that got written for the Blue Album. I think I am. I'm like 90-ish% sure that I'm recalling this correctly. Yeah. That it was written. Holiday was written almost. It was the first song he wrote. After they like officially signed with Geffen. And I think it was one of or the last song that was written for the Blue Album.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I think it was In the Garage and Holiday were the two.
Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought I read this just like 2 days ago. It was those two and Buddy Holly. They were all written after they signed, but haven't started recording yet. Yep. I don't remember the order though. Yeah.
And there's the demos. I listened to the demo for In the Garage recently. I'd never heard it before. It leaked a little bit more recently. But the demo for Buddy Holly, I don't know if either of you have ever heard that. That we're going back a little bit right now, but
it's slow, right?
So slow.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. What's with these homies dissing my girl?
That sounds like if Buddy Holly were like used in a modern day horror movie trailer.
Yeah. No. I think Holiday is a really, really, really impressive song.
I think it's the best merger of their like Beach Boys like with grunge, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what word to use. Beach Boys versus like modern rock, I guess.
Grunge Boys.
The Grunge Boys, yeah.
like it kind of captures like both feelings pretty well. Again, similar to Buddy Holly, after the first course, it plays the verse melody on a non-vocal instrument. Totally. Like now, and then on Holiday, no. Anyway,
right. Yeah.
They both do the same kind of thing. But I don't know what else to say about this song.
There's not much else to say. It's just awesome.
It's awesome, and I think lyrically, to me, it also transcends a little bit. It goes to that higher level I like. The fact that it was one of the songs they wrote after they got signed, I think speaks to it. Like that context makes it even better, because like Surf Wax, I think this is the a totally happy song lyrically, but it has a bit of extra depth. Like, to me, it feels like it's a song about all of a sudden these doors have opened for you in your life.
Okay. So where you're going with that. Yeah, okay.
As opposed to Surf Wax, which to me seems just like a cute idea, like a little anecdote. Holiday feels like you're taking this idea of going on a holiday and magnifying it. So it's like, we're about to start the rest of our lives. Everything from this point is going to change. So I think it's a perfect song to be on the first record and mark that moment in time that he seemed to recognize.
About the idea that they actually got signed to like a major record label, and like his life is about to change. I never thought about it before, but as you were saying that, I'm like, holy shit, it kind of sounds like that. Knowing that he wrote it after getting signed too, especially, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. On this road will never die. Like, if I think about that lyric and he's talking about all the band members and the fact that like 30 years later Weezer is still a band with most of the same band members, like it honestly makes me emotional. I love it.
Yeah. Cool. And then we'll go on to Only in Dreams, the final song, which is, according to Weezerpedia, 8 minutes long exactly, which seems suspicious to me. I thought it was like it's a little too perfect. I thought it was like 8 minutes and something seconds, but
I always thought it was 7 something. So I'm super fucked up right now.
These people got this extended cut. I gotta hear it.
There's a little bit extra feedback at the end or something. I don't know. It's a long song. Not there's anything wrong with that. We can have our long songs. The first thing I can say about it is that it plays, I don't know whatever key it is, but it never plays the actual root note until the final line of the song, which is do 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 do. Obviously, I'll auto tune that part, but so it's always hinting at getting to that like final note, and it finally is at the very end. Anyway. Thoughts about this song?
How would you start it off?
I'm afraid to start it off because now that I know this is one of Sandy's top 3, this is my greatest Weezer shame, to be honest, is the fact that Only in Dreams has never connected with me the way that it does for so many other people, and I know that, and it's never connected with me the way I want it to, because
I can relate this a little bit.
Because I don't dislike it. I like long songs. That's not a problem. I'll save what the actual song is, but my favorite Weezer song is a longer Weezer song.
I know what it is already.
Yeah. So that's all right with me. And I love the extended jam. I think my main problem with the song is literally the chorus.
I was going to say the exact same thing. All right, cool. We're in agreement here.
Because the chord changes that are happening, and Sandy, I want to hear you talk about all these, but the chord changes that are happening, to me, it seems like the band, the whole album has been walking this really cool line where some things are like dissonant and they go to chords that you wouldn't expect. And to me, this is the only time on the album where like I can feel it and it just doesn't connect with me the way I want it to. They're doing this walk down, Only in Dreams, see what it means to reach out to her. But when you, I think they're like changing the key or something.
Yeah, they are.
And it just never exactly hits for me. That being said, I love all the lyrics. I love the noodling, plucky guitar that is hitting those open strings that kind of sound out of tune. I love the build, the climax, back down, and then the build again. So I guess it's just the fact that significant part of the song, and it ends up not even being the bulk of the song, because the bulk of the song is the outro, which I love so much. But just the fact that those choruses don't hit have always made me feel like I can't, and I just don't love this song the way that I want to, and I keep trying. Like I listen to the song a lot, I don't write it off, and I'm waiting for the moment for it to hit me, and it very well might happen. I'm still young, but
I'll say give it another 5 years, because like I definitely like I think I pretty much agree with you all the way, everything that you said. Like, and I especially felt stronger about it before. I guess the more I've heard it over the years, I just sort of like I've learned to accept it, I guess. No, the whole buildup is amazing, and like I think the verses are like very dear to my heart, and And the verse, I mean, the chorus story, it was a little bit jarring, I guess, for a long time, and now I'm just like, that's how the song sounds. I accept it as it is.
Right.
You don't have to accept it, but and so for you, Sandy,
Well, I really, really, really like it. It's so the chorus there is a key change in the chorus, and it that kind of I think part of the reason why I've always been okay with sort of like kind of jarring key changes is because I was such a Nirvana fan before getting, like, they're my favorite band, and Nirvana songs often have really hit those songs. If you look at them theoretically, are like really, 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 really clever and really, really well written. And Kurt was a giant Beatles fan, and I think one of the things that he pulled from the Beatles was having these really odd modulations where it's not even like we're gonna have one section of the song that modulates. It's like within the same chord progression we're modulating. Right. So like, let's say like this is a bit of an aside, but like look at a song like Lithium, right? Which is on the album it's in D, but I'm going to talk about it in standard tuning, okay? Which is half of the verse of Lithium. The first half of it is in E major, right? It's a major key chord progression, and then the second half of it is in E minor. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. And you don't even notice because it's so smooth, right?
Sorry, I'm humming into my
Yeah. And Kurt does stuff like that all the time. And like In Bloom is one of the most fucked up chord progressions on ever on a major big selling album. Like it's so dissonant, it's so weird, it shouldn't work, but he's able to put a vocal melody over top of it that does work, right? And so so my ear from a really young age was primed for challenging kind of like off-putting chord progressions, right? And it was really normal for me to hear that. So I've never thought of the Only in Dreams chorus as being particularly weird or jarring. It's just never occurred to me that it is. Yeah. And the melody that he does over top of it to me is almost like when it starts rising up a bit, like, you know, like the first, like, when it gets up to like the reach out a hand, like hold onto hers stuff, like I find the lift in the melody is so beautiful, and there's like a really nice harmony happening with it as well. And I think that the whole thing sounds like it's almost, for me, that chorus is like, and it fits because it's a song called Only in Dreams, but it almost gets shoegazy a little bit, like in the way the production is, and the guitars get really, really heavy and kind of thick and swampy for a second. But regardless, I think it's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song, and for me the whole thing, like the entire song, is just a vehicle that gets you to that climax, right? Like that's really what it's all about for me, is that moment where Pat just like bow, 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 you know what I mean? And it's been building for like so long and so gradually, and the guitars are just kind of like talking with each other and like mimicking each other, and it's really classical almost in a way too, because he does a lot of like call and response in the way that the melodies work. I think it's absolutely a work of art.
There's something really neat in the verses that I think they would go on to use in Pinkerton is I won't crush your pretty toenails into 1,000 pieces, and then like there's a second vocalist sort of singing it off time.
Yeah, and he's he almost sounds a little flat too. Like he doesn't sound like he's perfectly on pitch at all. But
did they also do it molecules of oxygen and carbon dioxide, or was that on time? I don't remember. But like
no, that one's I think that's a synced up harmony.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I guess the
I will crush your pretty toenails into 1,000 pieces.
But like that kind of like offbeat, sort of like, it's not like it's really hard to replicate, because I'm trying to replicate some of these things, but it happens a lot more in Pinkerton. But totally. I enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
There's actually a much shorter version of this. If you ever heard the demo of it, there's it's like 5 minutes maybe, a much shorter version of it, and it's almost an acoustic song. It's not really a big crunchy. Yeah, okay. It doesn't go there.
I've heard this before. Yeah.
It's from the Kitchen Tape, which was their first sort of real demo.
And I definitely heard it at some point.
and the middle part is really beautiful, and they could have easily just stuck with it. It gets so dreamy, and he has like Rivers is doing like these, because he was playing more technically at that time, right? He's kind of doing like these like scale runs almost, but he has like a stereo delay on it, and it's so dreamy and kind of so beautiful, and it's kind of like so subtle and muted. It doesn't have that big build up that they have in the album version. It's really cool, and I only want to say one other thing about it, which is that like you,
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to see this performed live, and they don't perform it live anymore. They don't do it.
They better do it this summer.
And
They're coming to our city. It'll be my first time seeing them,
and I remember everything, like that first Weezer show is tattooed on my brain.
It was one of the last songs they played.
It was the last one before the encore. The encore was Buddy Holly and Surf Wax.
There's a lot of blue smoke.
Yeah,
when they were playing that song. I remember that part. Yeah.
So basically, the way they had this set up was like they flooded the stage with smoke, and then they had it backlit so with blue lights, so that all you could see for the majority of the song was just like silhouettes in like blue kind of smoke, right? And then when that build-up starts happening, and like the smoke, there's even more of it, and it's like getting more, and then dun 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 dun, and then when Wilson does like the dun 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 dun, the big W lights up behind them, right? Like the big like Van Halen W or whatever, and all the lights turn on in the place, and like confetti comes down from the ceiling and stuff. Like it was I will never forget it. As long as I live, I will never ever forget that, ever. It was so cool.
and if there's anything that would make me love that song, I think that would be it. So I want to see them do that outdoors at Blues Fest.
Yes. The one thing that the song always made me think of, the verses sound a lot like a high school dance. Like talking about asking a girl to dance with you, and it's a very slow song. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's always just struck me as like I just imagine like a disco ball, like an auditorium,
totally,
or in a gymnasium, not an auditorium, like people dancing.
Totally, it's a really romantic song. Like it's like a true love song, and it's like one of the few that he's done that's like that you could really legitimately call like a love song.
Or it's Disney gay, but
yeah, I guess. Yeah. But it has, I mean, in this sense, the key change in the chorus really works because it makes the chorus so distinguished from the verses, where lyrically he's now pulling back and he's saying, you know, we can't have it only in dreams. To see what it means. Reach out to her. Like that can't happen in the verses when things are a lot brighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the key change is like a pullback from the dreaminess of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think Only in Dreams is a big achievement musically on an album full of things that are big achievements musically.
And it is the perfect closer. Like I wouldn't want any of these other songs to close the album.
Yeah.
Even though I like some of these songs more than Only in Dreams in general, like this needs to close the album. It needs to close their first album. Especially when you compare it to other closers that they have. It's so singular.
True. True.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the competition part of the discussion?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I'll give you guys some like paper. I guess you gotta. I don't know how many sheets you have there, but you gotta write down like. So I guess you need at least 2.
Okay.
2 papers.
Yeah. So I won't look at what you guys are writing. Don't look at what I'm writing.
Okay.
So what are we doing here? So one of them is going to be like our best and worst songs.
Yeah. So
and then the other one is going to be for our guesses.
No, I was just gonna do. We can do the best and worst together.
Okay.
Or you can do them one at a time. What do you guys want to do?
We should guess each other's least favorite song and then go around and do the favorite.
Okay. All right. So all right. So we'll do one at a time. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'll hide mine. So I wrote mine down already, but I guess have you guys written yours?
Our own personal picks?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I have mine.
Okay.
I don't have mine technically written down, but I know what they are.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're just writing down what we think the other person's least favorite is, right?
Okay, so right now, okay. Oh yeah, no. We're writing down our own, and then we just guess each other's. So like the idea is that like we'll go around and I'll say, Liam, I think yours is this, and Sandy, you'll say the same thing too, and then like you'll hold it up.
Right.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay.
Yes, and so that way we don't have to write down multiple answers.
So on one of our sheets we'll write our best, and then on the other one we'll write our least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how dramatic this is going to be.
Right, yeah. I guess the purpose of writing it down is so no one can be sneaky and change their answer after the guesses.
It's got to be. You got to lock it in.
And also like it could be fun when we go, oh, I don't know if it's going to be that dramatic.
Okay.
The contestants are writing their answers. This is like Jeopardy. It's funny is that like for these first few albums, I'm not very happy calling one song the worst.
No, for sure. I had the same experience when I was trying to do this. I was like, this is kind of breaking my heart a little bit, but if I have to make a decision, I got to make a decision, right? Life's like that sometimes.
And it's just it's like I feel like there's. Oh, actually, I think like on Ratatouille, there's probably gonna be some more likely.
There's some bummer. I think there's some bummer tracks before Ratatouille. Like we're Weezer had a very awkward middle age.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not quite positive what my least favorite would be on any of these, but I haven't thought about it carefully. All right,
I'm excited to get there.
So we'll do like I don't know who wants to do the. I'm trying to figure you guys out here. I guess I don't know about your worst tracks.
I need to think about where I think you guys are at.
So you want to do the worst one? I can probably let's do the best one first.
Okay.
Just because like I might have a better sense of it.
Kevin, you're sort of enigmatic to me. I don't know. I don't have a good sense of what your favorite and least favorites are. I'm willing to take a stab at Liam.
Okay.
But you've got a good Weezer poker face, my friend. I gotta say.
I wasn't trying to hide it. Did I say anything negative? I guess
no. You said a lot positive, which makes it tough to whittle down.
But I definitely spoke negatively about Only in Dreams, but only after Liam said it out loud first.
Yeah.
Used me as a shield.
So I should be guessed last, I guess. Is that what you're trying to say, or is it going to help you at all?
It's not like the problem, Kevin, is that with you, I'm not going to be able to make a guess where let's take a bunch of data and put it into a guess. I feel like I can do that with Liam, but with you, it's going to be a true guess, my friend. You are very enigmatic.
And to be fair, I'm not. I mean, I only have a few notes written here, and like I'm not positive about them. Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean,
and we can only guess one. We can't say like it's either this or this. We got to whittle it down to one.
Well, I mean, we can change the rules as we like, but I mean,
I think you can brainstorm and say, I'm fighting between these, but then lock in on one and say this is what it is.
Okay.
Do like
because then maybe you'll be close. Maybe you'll be like, I should have picked the other one. Okay, I'm gonna guess Kevin's favorite.
All right.
And it is tough.
No.
Kevin, I think you're a man of the people. I think your favorite song is going to be Say It Ain't So.
Sandy, do you agree or disagree? Or do you pick something else?
I'm gonna go Say It Ain't So as well.
All right, you got it right.
Boom. Yeah.
So I guess I'll give you both points. I don't know. I don't know what to do with
Give us each a cookie. So why is it your favorite?
I think it's I don't even know how to put it. Like it sounds like I remember like Brian Bell said when he saw Weezer for the first time because he wasn't in the band, he saw them live and was like he heard that song and was like this is like a classic song. It sounded like that like. I don't know what year it was, 93 or something.
Yeah, probably.
And it just sounds like it. It just sounds like a classic song. It just sticks out to me for this album. I don't know. I guess we spent a lot of time talking about it too, which is kind of a good sign.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess there's not much more to say about it. I mean, I can talk a lot about it, but like it's kind of like a vague answer I can give.
Okay.
So do you want to like maybe Liam, you do your guesses now, and then like because you already
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So now I guess.
Yeah.
So we know it's between In the Garage, Holiday, and Only in Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of its epic scope, because of the memory you have tied to it, because of the emotional catharsis within it, cool guitar work, I think your favorite is Only in Dreams.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna like split the odds and pick something different.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, man, I'm gonna say It's in the Garage.
Okay.
Are we both wrong, or yeah? You can pull the piece of paper and make it dramatic.
Only in Dreams.
Only in Dreams.
Oh, we were.
Is it close?
Very close. Very, very close.
We were shitting on that song at the end too. I'm so sorry.
No, man, I'll defend Only in Dreams. I don't care. I'll go to bat for Only in Dreams. Are you kidding me? No, it's very close. Can I say what can I reveal a bit of my overall rankings? We're not going to guess that, are we?
No, you're gonna guess the worst. So hold on for a second.
Well, you guys know that. You guys already know that I'm not going to say "In the Garage" was the worst song on the Blue album, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right?
Okay, it was number 2 then.
Yeah, it was number 2 on my ranking. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, then. So we got to guess Liam here, and I don't have a lot of notes. To be fair, if I'm just gonna guess, like out of the blue, I'm just gonna say it's Holiday. And you give a guess?
I'm also going to guess Holiday. That's what I was thinking. I'm torn between Say It Ain't So and Holiday, but I'm going with Holiday.
You guys listen to me really well. You're just barely off.
Oh, man.
It is Say It Ain't So. Holiday is absolutely number 2. And I wrestle with it, because Say It Ain't So it's the typical choice. I've heard it so many times, so I wonder if I should pick the one that really speaks to me uniquely, like Holiday. But I just, even when re-listening to the album, I just can't ignore that Say It Ain't So. Like literally every note they play is perfect. The lyrics speak to me a bit more, even though I love the lyrics in Holiday. I think Say It Ain't So is exactly what Kevin said. Like it just feels like a classic, like put it in the Great American Songbook song.
Mm-hmm.
But Holiday is a 10 out of 10 as well. Yeah, 11 out of 10 even.
Was that your number 2, I guess?
Yeah,
okay,
Holiday was number 2.
All right, so it's pretty good range here.
Okay, so now let's guess some worst songs.
You want to change the order, or you want to do it the same order?
Let's go, Liam. Throw out some worst.
Kevin's worst song.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna guess this one.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know this either. I mean,
yeah, because I guess I wasn't speaking a lot of crap about anything.
Yeah, you were very nice. I mean, the only song you spoke a bit of crap on is Only in Dreams, but honestly,
yeah,
I don't know if that's your least favorite.
I guess I'm not being fair because I should have actually just like said some bad things. I didn't say any bad things. So well, it's kind of hard to guess.
No, that's all right. You'll be able to tell us the bad things after. You like No One Else. You know what? I think I'll go Surf Wax America.
You actually, I swear to God, I'm not just trying to agree with you every time. I'm also guessing Surf Wax.
Sadly, you're both wrong, but you're gonna be shocked, I guess. But it's Buddy Holly.
Wow!
Whoa!
Yeah,
I thought about guessing that as your favorite.
Oh man,
before I came in to Say It Ain't So.
I guess I put a lot of praise about it, but I don't know. Similar to Say It Ain't So, it sounds like it doesn't belong on the album, and it's just like so like to the point. Got a lot of cool parts to it. I don't know. I came into the album hearing that song so much already, and like I kind of just like it's like if I heard it was like Beverly Hills is not my favorite song on Make Believe, so it's just like I don't know. It's a great song. The thing is, every song on this album is great. So I can't speak terrible about it, but it's not doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
Every song is great, actually. As I thought about this, I realized Holiday isn't actually my number 2; it's my number 3. I'll save what my number 2 is, but this album's stacked. What can you do?
Yeah, it is me really hard to like to pick winners and losers here.
Okay, let's guess. Sandy's least favorite. That's tough too, because you love Weezer. You love the Blue Album. You didn't critique a whole lot of them. I know I can stay in the first 7 songs. You know what? I'll stick to my heart, and I will say Surf Wax as well.
Okay.
I'm going for Surf Wax. That's the only note I have about your worst one. So
Nice.
Surf Wax. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. As I said, I think that there's not a song on this album that is like less than 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And like I would be like the luckiest musician in Ottawa if I could write a song half as good as Surf Wax America.
Yeah.
But I think that it's objectively the worst song on the album.
Yeah.
I think that by every measure that we could evaluate the Blue Album, I think that Surf Wax is the least of all of them, and it is doubly painful for me because I think it serves a function on the album of being one of the few fast songs on it, right?
Yeah.
So it's important that it's there, but because I'm familiar with the depth and breadth of all of Weezer's catalog, released and unreleased, I know that there are better fast songs that they could have put on the Blue Album, right? Like Paperface could have gone on there, no problem.
Yeah. Let's sew our pants together or something like that. That's not as fast, but sorry.
Yeah, but there were. I think they could have.
Sorry about the cat, by the way.
I love it.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about Surf Wax. Like it's still a fantastic song. I've had a good relationship with it over the years, but I think that by every measure that we have looked at on this album, I think it stacks up the least.
The song I was thinking about too was Lullaby for Wayne.
Lullaby for Wayne. Yeah.
That's like a fast one. It's kind of like Surf Wax America.
Exactly, and it's a fast song with a slow bridge, right?
Yeah, they're very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yep. You
Right.
guys got me. You nailed me.
All right then.
So we've got to guess a worst song for Liam.
I'm gonna go with Surf Wax America again.
I'm also going to go with Surf Wax America because, as I said, I believe that it's objectively the worst song on the album.
Well, I'm not an objective dude, but my subjective opinion as well is that Surf Wax is the worst. And to be honest, it wasn't immediately obvious for me. I had like a bottom 3 that I could flirt with. We'll tell our rankings, and I'll show you what else was in there. But for me, it was really the bridge that brought it down. And I agree with you, Sandy, that I think like really in all the factors we talked about, lyrics and construction and all that stuff, I think Surf Wax is down there when compared to the other songs. But I like the verses and the chorus and the energy in that melody a bit better than I like some of the other songs that I end up liking more. But it's just that bridge is really the only part on the album, and maybe the chorus of Only in Dreams, where I'm just like, that isn't exactly working for me. And Only in Dreams, I think, has higher highs, so it's over Surf Wax.
Cool. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you need to read out the rankings.
I want to know your guys' rankings. I'm really curious about it.
I'm curious too.
I'm steeped in Weezer Weezer message board culture, and album rankings and tracklist rankings are a vital part of that culture. So like, I'm actually dying to know what your rankings are.
So okay, I'll go first. Just to know, so Surf Wax America was my second least favorite after Buddy Holly, so it's pretty close by.
Are we going in reverse order here, Cow?
Okay, I'll start from the beginning. All right, so saying so. My name is Jonas. Holiday, Undone, Only in Dreams, No One Else. Oh, what the hell? I totally didn't do this right. Holiday again. Something's wrong. The World Has Turned, Surf Wax America, and Buddy Holly. So what was missing?
Did you have In the Garage on there?
It was... In the Garage. So In the Garage was probably... So it was no one else, In the Garage, World Has Turned, Surf Wax America, Buddy Holly.
Okay.
So Holiday is number 3.
Yeah, Holiday's number 3,
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you have some stuff in the bottom half that surprised me.
But I mean, it's impossible to put anything anywhere.
I understand. I totally understand.
It was
man.
totally
I get
like
it.
not an easy process. It wasn't like, oh my god, I hate Buddy Holly, gross. It was like, it just didn't. I kind of imagine if I was like listening to the CD, and I only had like 10 minutes. What songs would I want to hear? Mm-hmm. Like, so like, what songs would I skip if I most likely? So yeah, that's all it.
Cool. How about you?
I'll go. So for me, when I was making my ranking, I found I knew the top three and I knew the bottom three.
Okay.
I guess I knew what would be in the middle four, but within those tiers, it was like those were the three tiers, and I sort of had to arrange them and go back and forth. So my favorite is Say It Ain't So. My second favorite is My Name Is Jonas, and my third favorite is Holiday.
Okay.
We're the exact same, Kev. Which is why I guessed Surf Wax for you, because I thought we were on the same page. So Buddy Holly is where you and I differ.
Okay.
And then so this middle four, which could kind of be shimmied around a bit. So after Holiday at top 3, I have In the Garage at 4, Undone is 5, Buddy Holly is 6, No One Else is 7.
Yeah.
Only in Dreams is 8. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here is 9, and then Surf Wax is 10.
You guys are really close.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
You guys are at least as far as the Blue Album is concerned, you guys are vibrating on a very similar frequency.
That is interesting.
That's super interesting.
That is interesting.
The amalgamation is going to work in our favor.
Yeah, that's cool. Liam, hang on.
Yeah.
What was your middle tier again?
So the middle tier is 4 songs starting at top 4. It's In the Garage is 4, Undone is 5, Buddy Holly is 6, and No One Else is 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so 3 of those appear in my middle 4 as well.
So in the Garage was just almost cracking the top 3 for you.
Almost, yeah. And that probably surprised me the most.
Oh yeah.
That one snuck up there at a different time in my life. It would have been way more down at the forgettable tracks, but it had the power this time for me.
Cool. I forgot to ask you about that. I wanted to ask because you told me that one surprised you. Did anything surprise you when you were doing your rankings? Were you ever were you like, oh man, I thought that one would be way higher, or like anything like that?
Nothing really surprised me. I just found it very difficult to rank them. To be honest, like it was just like a. I'm like, okay, somehow The World Has Turned and Left Me Here is like my 3rd least favorite song. That doesn't make any sense. And then like, but okay, but I like these songs better. But do I actually like them better? I mean, it's you could do an experiment where like maybe like every week I could try to re-rank them and see if it happens the same way again.
It wouldn't stay the same for me.
Yeah.
Like I would guess that the top 3 would stay, and like maybe they wouldn't stay in those 3. I'm guessing that the tiers would kind of stay the same. But it could definitely change. Like I'm not confident that I like Undone and In the Garage more than Buddy Holly. Yeah. But I love those songs, so I guess I am. So I'm not sure.
It's a strange exercise. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your ranking?
Okay, so the way I did this was for Blue Album. The way that I got started, because this is it's challenging to rank these songs because they're all incredible. The way I got started was by separating it into a top half and a bottom half, right? So it was like I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know. Like I knew going into it what the worst song was. I was like, Surf Wax at the bottom, out of the way, done. And I'm pretty sure that I know intuitively off the top of my head what my top half is, right? And then I just kind of figured out the rest by process of elimination. So the way I did this was I actually separated it into a top half and a bottom half before I had listened to it. Right?
Yeah.
So just from memory, I was like, here's what I think the top half is, and here's what I think the bottom half is. And then I listened to it, and as I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this needs to be here. Or like, oh, that needs to be over there.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. So here it is. Here we go. Here's Blue Album. Number 1 is Only in Dreams, followed by In the Garage, followed by Holiday.
That's my number 3.
Number 4, I have The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Number 5, I've got Buddy Holly. 6 is Say It Ain't So. 7 is Jonas. 8 is Undone. 9 is No One Else. And 10 is Surf Wax.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What surprises me the most there is the 6 to 8. You had Say It Ain't So. You had
Jonas, and then Undone.
And Undone.
Yeah.
Those are 3 heavy hitters.
Yeah, I know. It was tough. The way that I got those where they are was kind of just because it was really hard, right? It was especially challenging to figure out how am I going to order Buddy Holly and Say It Ain't So, like which one's going first here, right? And it's so subjective, and again, I think that probably it would change if we did this on a different week. But just as I was listening to it, as I was actively listening to the album, I was sort of paying attention to my emotional reaction to the songs, right? And if I was like excited about a song and was like, yeah, fuck yeah, like, oh, here comes this part, or like whatever, like, then I'd be like, okay. And honestly, like this listen through of the Blue album, like I was more into Buddy Holly than Say It Ain't So, which hasn't been the case at some points in my life, right? Yeah. But by like the end, halfway through Buddy Holly, I was like, like yeah, fuck yeah.
Nice.
And unfortunately for Say It Ain't So, because it's an amazing song, by halfway through the first verse, I was like, I know every second of this. I know what's coming. I know, like, you know what I mean? That was just my experience with it.
It's been like overplayed in a way.
Yeah. That's a cool way to gauge your ranking, because if I had done that, Say It Ain't So wouldn't have been my number 1. For me, it would have been Jonas, because when I put on Jonas, it is just so like every line he says in that is like it's higher in his range, and so he's just like yelling it at people, and the whole thing is just slamming away. I think it's a perfect opener, and it got me more excited than Say It Ain't So, but it's just like, which song, maybe I thought about it as like which song, if I had to keep one in my life and never hear the other one again,
okay.
In that case, I think I would take Say It Ain't So, even though this time around My Name Is Jonas excites me a bit more.
Maybe I would take My Name Is Jonas just because I know Say It Ain't So well, that I would be like, I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of like a weird theoretical idea, is like, you can only have one of these songs for the rest of your life.
Yeah. We did it.
All right. That
was great.
That's episode 1. I mean, Jesus, that was like
2 hours?
3 hours?
You're joking.
What time is it right now?
It's been a while, bro. It's after 10.
Holy
10:13.
shit.